The moment's finally arrived. We've got Mr. Mark McNee. Finally got him on a podcast. Traveled the Himalayas, went into the Congo, all around the world, and finally.
Yeah, the man himself. Look, Alex, and yeah, you're here with your new hair. We both had a haircut this morning. Onto it.
Yes,
Maintenance is important.
that's right. Yes, no, we're both looking shimmering with our hair in its appropriate places. Those listening to the podcast, just to be clear
Yep.
on that, Marco's not naked. He's got a phenomenal, well-groomed beard, and I
Yeah,
struggle to get a
and
moustache.
my hairdresser's just closer to home. Al's got to go places for those things.
He's got like a $30,000 brawn. I've never seen a beast like that before. Is that like AI as well? It does it for you. That's a phenomenal device, mate.
That's it. No, it's the pit bull. No, it's super. Look at his jaw. I just want to have a jaw like I'm going to chew on the worst steaks I can find just so I got a
All
jaw like
silver.
that guy. Look at him.
How good. How good. Uh, Gents, looking forward to this session and sharing it with you all. We've got a dual Olympian, Mr. Mark McNee, who no longer always goes left, a speed skater. The man is fast, and he's fast and ambitious. And what I wanted to really dive into today, yeah, of course, promoting being an athlete and the mentality and mindset and walking through Marco's life, but also the big picture of life. And, and whether it's a every 4 year type season or it's a decade long season, 30s, 40s, 50s. Yeah, what I've always said, Marco, is one of the hardest sports around is the sport of life too. But I can't wait to
Mm.
dive into. I mean, geez, mate, going to the Olympics multiple times, that's pretty fucking impressive, man. So I'm not here to take that away either. I can't wait to hear about the stories, the journeys, the struggles. But ultimately, for all of you, man, we're here to talk about family, self, and service, and how can we win the ultimate game, be the killer whale with a pod of orcas out in the ocean as opposed to remaining where we are. So a big piece today, fellas. Yeah, it's family, self, and service, getting to know Marco's story in more depth and detail, but also self-mastery, the ambition of a man, and
Mm.
why there is no end until we breathe our last breath. But mate, thank you so much for making the time. Great to have you on.
No, likewise. No, it's yeah, the Congo. Hopefully you didn't get too many leeches on your way to getting me, but yeah, apologize. It's ships in the night until now. But no, pretty pumped, pretty excited out there in the ether. Let's see what we can pick up. Existing members on the inside. Let's go deep and go deep quickly. See what we can pick up. Keen to hear your feedback. Have call up like we are. We're part of this tribe and we're looking after each other and building together. Yeah. But if you're new to this and this is your first touch with HPF or the real dad movement, as it used to call it, then yeah, strap in.
Yes.
It's, we're we're ready. So blokes, we're men here. I'm very openly a blokey bloke. I like when my dad talked to me about what I wanted for my 15th birthday. It was a forklift license. I like monster trucks. I'm building two engines currently, openly and without shame. I'm a really blokey bloke. I like those things. I like cricket. And that doesn't mean we can't be gentle. I got two daughters, and the amount they've taught me about myself is incredible. They're so lovely. I maintain that those humans just built the way they are. I don't think it's the boundaries or the guidelines I give them. I think they're just nice kids. But anyway, I'm just trying to maximize my time with them while they still think I'm funny. That horrible stat, or it's a cool stat, whatever it's a real. 99% of the time we spend with our kids is by the day they leave the house. So
That's incredible, isn't it?
if
Real
you're
thing.
if you're listening to this and you're at home and your kids are there, pause it. Go play with them. Go talk to them. Go find out what they want to do. Listen to this on the train on the way to work or sometime when you're on a plane for business. Like this is, if you got access to your kids right now, just go spend time with them, mate. They're such a gift. They're such a
I
gift.
Geez, mate, you've gone from an incredible intro where I was going to invite you to co-host to pushing people away from the podcast. What a start! What a
Oh, that's it, mate. Yeah. Not away.
yes,
Come back. Come
like
back and
she's
play.
back.
But let's go
He's
deep
back.
when it's right, the right time. Hey.
Oh yeah, two little princesses. But one's a teenager, one's about to be a teenager, and I love it, man. Like it's the whole chief index, right? When to be Viking, when to be panda. Like when we look at our companions through life, fellas, which isn't always our wife or our wife alone, but the important relationships we have. There's always a two halves that make the whole, and I think that's really important. So, can we be soft and gentle, just like a woman can, of course? But what I've found historically through working with the men as well as my own observations with my two daughters and my wife is they really are drawn and attracted to the man that can complete their half that is not as engaged, active, and or missing, which is the masculine in us. It's the drive. It's like, wow, Alex, you shouldn't do that. Don't jump off, and jump into the pool. And but what like that's one example of me doing something that might be a little bit more risky and courageous or foolish or whatnot. But that when it's done is like, wow, I could never do that. That's an attractive thing. So I had this beautiful game of this was like tennis with Corinne back and forth as we were teenagers, where she loved that I was a risk taker and I had the dominant masculine traits to follow through, and even if I was wrong, perform. But then through that, fellas, you get your battle scars and you prove yourself and you earn your right at the table. Don't ever take that away. That's a so my wife obviously sees that, but so do my daughters, and they love how strong that is, and they try and squash my biceps or my chest, and I flex it. Just silly things, but there is a real undercurrent of desire that women need that from men, and for us as men, we feel valued and more important, as well as the facts of providing. We know we matter in life,
Sure.
and that's a beautiful thing. But mate, can't wait to dig into the parental stuff. But do you want to give us a bit of an update, or well, bit of a background, not an update, but give us the
Sure.
background, mate. So, what Mark McNee? Who is he? Where did he come from? And what led to you essentially as a man moving through life before a marriage and kids and HPF, mate, going to the Olympics multiple times?
Yeah, thanks, mate. All right. Well, it all started in 1981. No, no. So I'm an 81 model. I'm the last of the WB Holdens, the square headlights. Um, yeah, so my first memory is steering down in a place called Bonis. It's a plantation called Bonis in a small island called Bougainville in Papua New Guinea. My parents actually met up there. Mum was up there running the hospital as a nurse and a midwife, and my dad was up there. He had his company making chocolate, but also part of that was his drive to educate and hand over agriculture after the independence in 1974. So we're still there in 81. So he must have been very good at it. No, no, kidding. He was he's a gun, my dad. He's a top bloke and a really good leader. And he's taught me a lot too. But no, so that's my story. That's me at 2. And yeah, lived in and around Papua New Guinea, doing local school as well as School of the Air, but School of Distance Education from the Queensland curriculum. And yeah, just had this perfect, idealistic lifestyle. My older brother, who I'm really good mates with, he was very sick. He got a really bad kind of malaria, and it swiped him. Hey, it wiped him sideways. And that took a lot of focus from my mum, who's a nurse, obviously, to try and bring him back and to full health. And it took a long time. It actually that shadow was with him for a decade or
Wow.
more. So he was a sick kid, and he did well. But it also meant I had a lot of time with the local kids, with the other plantation owner kids, and time to myself. Not that I was being neglected, yeah, but Andrew needed a lot of help, and Dad was running a farm. So yeah, perfect lifestyle, no boundaries. Be home by 3:30. Yeah, like got caught driving a tractor once. I couldn't reach the pedals, and I got in less trouble for that than I did getting home at 3:45 instead of 3:30 because that's when the mosquitoes come out. Yeah, so boundaries were really clear in my house, and I try to replicate that as well. Yeah, so fast forward another 6, 7 years, there was a civil war on the little island I was on. So we were agriculture, we're the other end of the island, but there was a large copper reserve called Panguna. With Bougainville Copper was a Rio Tinto asset at the time, and the short. This is about parenting, so we can do another podcast on Bougainville if you like. But uh, fat and skinny of it was there was a lot of money going back to the mainland and not much coming back. So there was a civil war. They're like, no, we want our share. Um, we didn't have a side so much in that, but yeah, there was conflict, and conflict's not a great place for children to be. So mum and dad scooped us up, and we came back, but dad stayed there to get all the locals who weren't from our island off the island. So that's a very like these big skips of time in my mind. That time when dad wasn't with us, that was tough, eh? Because no comms. He's in a war zone. He was a conscript in Vietnam, so he actually did 2 years of conflict and was trained for such. So I was confident, but there's only so confident a 10-year-old boy can be when you're dreaming, hey. So no, Dad came back healthy, got a lot of people out. Maybe nothing could have would have happened to them. Maybe they would have had strife. So here we are, in Brisbane, 1989. Maxed the credit cards out just before the insurance companies cancelled declared a war zone, and there was nothing left in those businesses. They were insolvent. They were frozen. Yeah. Yeah. So Dad and Mum had to rebuild, just walking into the biggest recession Australians ever seen. So yeah, amazing what they pulled through there. So we started living in a caravan park. We went from palatial, like colonial leftover relics in PNG to the caravan park here. And not that we're above it then or above it now, but it's a big shift. And yeah, off to school as a kid while they started to rebuild from zero. So yeah, fast forward a few more years, my brother and I ended up at a nice at a private school here in Brisbane. Very fortunate that Dad was able to link that in with his career, and so he shifted from agriculture, and because of the work he was doing agriculture with the local communities, he actually moved into mining, and this is his life legacy now. He's one of the best in the world at looking after the communities who are displaced by mines. So from early on, from end of mine, during mine life, he shrouds it in a world of risk, but yeah, very very muchly objectively looking after those communities, and the necessary commodity that comes out of such a concentrated place to the rest of the world. So yeah, my dad was through the worst recession that we had in Australia, and what 17% interest rates. He had to fly a lot. So yeah, I was a FIFO kid, and that was tough. I've done my time FIFO before my kids were born, and I've learnt from that. He didn't have a choice. Yeah, he had to do it. And as a 14-year-old, when I was 14, he probably copped a lot of flack from me about not being home. But looking now as a man and a father, he had no option. That's it. You had to do it. Yeah.
Mm. He
So
seemed
a
like
great
a
lead.
guy. Yeah, mate, great leadership though. Like doing whatever it
Yep.
takes for his family at a
Yep.
time that was very turbulent, no certainty. But
Yep.
he seems like a very driven man, military, professionally. His love for
Well,
providing for the family.
military wasn't his choice. His birthday came up, but
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, but he made it, mate. And he made it through, and then obviously, but that aside, it's very interesting. Did he ever speak to you about ambition or drive, or what was some of the conversations you did have with him as you started to get older? What did you see? What did you learn? What did you pick up from him? Because that's pretty unique. Look, we
Yeah.
all grow up with challenges, but but it's different for us all too. Pretty unique, man. What he
Yeah.
did and how resourcul he was as
He
well.
has a great perspective. Yeah. So my grandfather, his dad died when he was 11 or something. They were tobacco farmers up in North Queensland. So yeah, he didn't have a model to model this on. So would have been tough for him, but whatever he didn't have HPF like I do. Yeah, he did good. He's a storybook dad. Great boundaries, really clear what we could and couldn't do. He he did have a short fuse, and he laughs when he's cranky. So we used to have joke in the house when he starts laughing. That's when we start running. But he was never violent, never inappropriate. But probably he went 0 to 100 Viking pretty quick.
Through laughter. That's a good signal.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a,
that's it.
no countdowns, just start laughing.
Yeah, that's it. Laughing. Ooh, hoof it. It's usually me poking the bear as well. I was a little shit. No, no. So stories from my dad. We were walking around PNG. I used to ask him about, as a single digits, like 7, 8-year-old child. I'm asking about because he was clearly following patterns while we were walking around the bush. This isn't a plantation. Yeah, we're looking at cocoa, making sure it's growing properly. And I was like, why are you doing that? What's this pattern for? Well, how come you stop every time we turn a blind corner? And he's like, it's coded into me. I can't not. I have to. And he told me about some of those conflict stories. And I was very, very young, yeah, but I come back and talk to mum about it, and I'm like, wow, that's serious, yeah. It's full on. So yeah, I'm glad he came home. Long before I was born. But what else from my dad? My dad is very cut and dry about things. He's like, this is it. You do it or you don't. And I'm the consummate engineer, and I want to do an options analysis on even lunch. what's optimized. Whereas dad, as soon as he's a farmer, yeah. So as soon as there is a solution, implement it. And so that was the cornerstone of most of our conflict. He's like, go do it. I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be done till 3 days from now, and we don't have all the information. So,
Mm,
but
yes.
no, it was lots of stories from him there. Same idea. My brother was pretty sick, so dad had to spend that time with him as well, and my mum. Yeah, mum was a big part of all this too. She was with dad traveling. Mum was the cornerstone of that house and keeping everything moving, keeping the food up to us. That's one thing we carry over here. Tash is amazing with her nutrition for this house. My youngest Jasmine's just come off a quarter of rep basketball, and talk about going to 0 to 100. She sort of started basketball last year. Fortunately, she's got her mum's talent for sport. Hey, so she, but yeah, she didn't miss a session. No risk, no broken ankle, no twisted ankles, no sickness, and 100% that is the house that Tash runs here. Hygiene is high. Sleep hygiene is priority. The food we get is delicious and abundant, and not just the macros, but the art of cooking as well. So she's all over it. My Tash. Um, yeah, so where's that lead us to? High school. Yeah. So high school was easy enough for me. They didn't quite know what to do with me. I shot the lights out at all the STEM projects, but I also was good at sport. So they're like, "Could you choose, please, between being a weedy nerd and and making the top teams for sport, please? We want to categorize you." I was a surly little teenager, hey, because I didn't want to leave PNG. I didn't feel like it was my choice. So I had a short fuse as well. A lot of fighting as a teenager, which I sort of cringe at now, knowing how easy that conflict could have been to stop. But it's part of my story. I had this sort of mantra: I never start a fight, I just finish them. You know, and yeah, I mean, you grin at it. It sounds cool, but it's also not. Like de-escalation of violence is critical. Lack of violence in our society is one of the building blocks of development. Yeah, I grew up in a violent society, and it's not good. Hey, like carrying a machete around and in PNG, it's a massive impediment to development when your personal security is not paramount, when it's not a given right. Yeah. And so, yeah, lots of jujitsu now in my life. So I still indulge that part of conflict. That's part of my code, but it's on the mat, willing participants, and we slap and bump, and there are rules. That's let's keep it there, gentlemen. If you do have a propensity to violence, whether you're in HPF now or just listening to the first time, do something about it. Hey, there's no place for that on the street, and there's definitely no place for that at home. Um, what do we say? Bad people can do good things, and good people can do bad things. So don't hell on yourself. Don't just incorporate it into your identity. If you've got violence in your background or you've actually done those things, do something about it. Right now is zero, and the past is the past, and it only affects you if you let it. It only reaches from the past, like it's gone. It's like the wake of the ship cannot steer the ship unless you turn around and stare at it. Then you're going to keep going the way that the ship was going. Yeah. You turn around and face forward, you can turn that ship anywhere you want. So right now you can choose. And there's so many programs for men, domestic violence or violence on the street, and it's such an easy thing to turn around. It's such an easy thing to point to something good as well. You put that intensity into your career or your family. Oh my goodness! Now you're moving, yeah.
Mm.
So
Yes.
yeah, reach out for those. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a reactive addiction to control, right? And that's their
Spot on.
metric to
Yeah,
seek it instead of
giving up leadership to take
yeah.
control, and you're
Mm.
damaging the people you're supposed to lead when you
Mm.
do it.
Yes,
100%. Yep.
absolutely. So,
Hmm.
if you need outlets, mate, sweet. Lifting weights could be punching a bag. Fuck, mate, could
The
be golf.
kombucha. Yeah,
Kombucha,
could
yeah,
be golf.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Some people go to quiet things to stem
Yeah.
that. I have to go to intense things to stem that. We're all different. Hey.
Mm, mm. It's like that, all those sayings, mate. The samurai with his sword sheath, all the things that we talk about
Yep.
HPF, right? It's not just panda and chief. You need the Viking in you, but it's who's steering the bus. That's a really good visual that I've done before, where
Nice.
we all
Nice.
have different types of characters, right? Whether it's the savior, the pusher, obviously the madman, the aggressive one. Like they're all on my bus, but Al drives it. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, good points though, man. Really good points on how you can harness it through your own journey over time, despite the upbringing you had, because it's a big bandwidth stretch, isn't it? Like you're chewing up so much juice just just thinking about staying alive in dangerous situations, which means the fight or flight, that the way you're wiring yourself throughout the latter years, and then
Mm,
you look at your children and then you blow up at them after you ask them 3 times, like, well, fuck, mate, you probably got asked 12 times, or maybe you didn't, and you just copped a beating. But either way, more often than not, is always comes back to an addiction to control in areas that are outside of yourself. Like, if my child, my 5-year-old Roman, like, I'm so different to an 18-year-old, let alone version of our, let alone a 5-year-old version of our. So how can I expect him to be doing things at the standard that I want, or doing it the first time he's asked? Right? Ask him 15 times, or set a marker. Okay, once I ask my kids 30 times if they don't listen. Like, make it so outrageous in how you're shifting your focus that at some stage you're gonna get a result. But more so, it's developing and nurturing, like you said, leadership. Isn't it funny too? Leadership. It is absolutely goes hand in hand, man. It's a part of a piece I wrote for Cozzy, actually, about relinquishing leadership because you're pursuing control, which means you lose the thing that you're fighting for. Is one of the questions that we posed last night in our
sure.
our big round table getting ready for the event. Um, Mate, yeah, that's one thing. Just one thing on the old boy. I think that's really before we dive into your professional advancement through life as a man. Valuable, and I wrote certainty over clarity. So one of the 5 temptations of a leader is choosing certainty over clarity. Now, what that does is it runs a risk of ultimately procrastination, because I need to know every single little piece before I do anything. So what your old man really instilled inside of you, despite you still have your method on processing things, is a shorter cycle of processing thought into action. Think about that, man. Like,
Hmm.
we've changed the tweaks and big, small and big, HPF multiple times a month for nearly 8 fucking years. That's hundreds and
Sure.
hundreds and hundreds, but it's the cycle. So we can have a meeting with the execs for what we're focusing on this quarter with HPF and our service and upgrades and blah blah. Mate, we'll have a decision within an hour. It doesn't mean we're recklessly building the end game.
Mm,
It's clarity on where we are now, clarity on what we want to achieve next, clarity on what that first step is, and then fucking go. That's it. Like,
mhm.
that's people, and I see some wealthy people talk about this. Like, some people will take 3 months making one decision. If you took 3 hours and you course correct as you go, by the time 3 months is up, fuck, how many have you made? Like, it's a lot more than one
Sure.
decision, right? Um,
Yeah.
that's
And
valuable, man. Mm.
there's a courage and an ego piece in that too that I really like and see within HPF. And I work really hard on it too. The first time I noticed it in myself as a stupid 17-year-old petrol head with a turbocharged Datsun 1200 Ute, and I was moving through traffic. But if I chose a lane that wasn't moving, I'd then feel sheepish if I went back to the lane I came from. I'm like, nobody cares. Just change lanes. Do it safely, obviously. But and the same applies here. Like there was no audience but me. And so that was one of the biggest learnings, and what we really, Tash and I do really well. I think we do well here. Is when we're wrong, we call it. So give ourselves a chance to catch it. So Jasmine and I are so similar in our personalities. And so 99.9% of the time that's super duper, and we just swirl off into amazing. My Ellie and Elizabeth's so similar to her mum, so I actually find she's a complex kid. Like, she's got lot going on. Not in a bad way. She's just like lots of things on the run, emotionally and practically. Whereas Jazzy's like me, so it's familiar. Yeah. So with Ellie, where I I've got experience 20 years with Tash, like Tash's clone, So it's great fun working with Elsbeth, and I find that quite easy, yeah. But with Jazzy, where there's a lot of intensity in it, but when it goes sideways fast.
Mhm.
I go, Panda, I'm tired. Like, she's like,
Yes.
to explain it to me. This is not logical. I'm like, it's 9 o'clock at night, dude. We're not. This is not a negotiation. Up it goes, And so Tash intervenes, and she's like, a little bit of time. You take yourself a deep breath, and
Mhm.
yeah, that's in the same way of changing lanes. I switch back into the appropriate lane and say, sorry, Jasmine, I was wrong. I was creating a boundary. Like, it's not a choice for you to make. You know, I made the mistake, and then typically did that de-escalation. She goes as well. She's like, I was digging my heels in about nothing. We hug, everything's good. Off we go.
Mhm.
But yeah, so Tash facilitates that for me, and the same happens with Tash and Ellie. Their
Yes.
escalation is not immediately; it's a simmer, and off it goes. And
Ah,
I'll walk in sometimes. I'm like, oh goodness, what's going on here? I need a knife to cut through the lounge room, you know.
That's right. You gotta get a kayak
What,
out because the water's so
what are
yeah,
you
so thick.
what are you guys cranky about that you're not telling each other
Yeah.
around?
Credit to you and Tash though, man, as the leaders of the house. At least you have a process because progress is a process of lots of little outcomes. So you know that's a it's like your old man. I think he said you either do or you don't. What hurts so
Yep.
many men, even guys listening to this, whether you remember or not, is you stay in that fucking no man's land, man. It's like this hazy fog of despair because there's so much uncertainty and you don't even know where you stand. You either fucking do it or you don't. There is real value to that, and giving yourself permission to be wrong. I think we spoke about this maybe on one of the charge up sessions I ran, where if you look at the numbers, if we want to talk statistics on making decisions, men, even if you're right 70% of the time, with every three decisions you make, right? So three times 70 is 210% out of 300.
Yeah.
You've hit the mark twice. So imagine that. Imagine if only 70% of the time when you made a decision, you were right, which HPF is probably fucking way lower for me, but you keep correcting me.
Nah.
But
But
yes,
that
if you,
correction you do, like you've a
yeah,
great example here. You changed tribe and we changed some nomenclature, some names, and we came back to it. That's awesome. I respect that. Like it's okay to make mistakes and then just go and retrace your ground. You're like, that was working. This correction was not the one. We're not going to keep going. And everyone's just like, cool, on. You know, don't you, it's about not being sheepish about that stuff. You just like call it. You're like, nah, it's on me. Let's keep going.
last year, massive gala event we wanted to plan, and I had to fucking cancel it
Hold
when
on.
we already had registrations. Husbands and their
Yeah.
wives wanted to do a big fucking theme, and
Yeah.
did a big live video, open, transparent. So I think pre-recorded, live inside of the community, falling on the sword, and it's like, oh, if you don't respect or like that, you don't have to stay either. Like that's okay. Everyone has their choice. But
Sure.
funnily enough, that got even more. But not funnily enough, because
Mm,
that's the process of life. People respect the
sure.
authenticity
Decisiveness.
of
Yeah.
when you do make mistakes, but
Yeah.
you make a fucking call and then you correct and you go again.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Very good. I know. So around that one out, the that was the sort of the parenting challenge that Tash brought to the team. You know, it should not be within their power to cause me any distress. And if you guys work out how, can you text me? Because I'm still working on it. Like sometimes they get under your skin, and you know they never asked to be around. So it's my number one priority, number one challenge is that these kids. As long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a dad. They didn't
Mm,
get to they didn't get to review. I'm a mechanical engineer in my career. They didn't get to review and vet the project manager. I was born into it. I just got
mm,
to shoot the lights out. They deserve everything I have.
mm. That's a great way to put it. Great way to put it, man. Similar to yourself, like ever since I was young, I just wanted to be a father. I don't know, there's just something about it.
Mm,
I just always felt compelled and called to the servitude
mm,
of what it is. That's what I love
sure.
most. It's service. Your children are your greatest investment, mate, without a fucking doubt. And that doesn't mean you can't invest in them through what you do professionally, because you're setting an
Of course.
example on adding value to the world outside of the
Mm,
family nucleus. Absolutely.
mm,
Your relationships are obviously given your health and well-being, your perspective and mindset on how you adjust and address problems. Mate, it's brilliant. My children, that's going to be the mental piece of my pool room one day. My fucking kids, mate. You know, that's just regardless of the age. I remember hearing a saying from a billionaire. Success is when your children want to be around you when you're older. But I think it goes both ways. Success to me would be I have such a great relationship with my children that I get to enjoy and experience seeing their lives as extremely successful adults at a close and intimate level. Because what that means is I did my job in setting them up to handle the adversities of life. They went out and created great successes for themselves. And I have a beautiful, loving relationship where I can be part of that with them. You know, like imagine if your kids just want to be around you, but they're fucking bums. Like it's like, all right, have you done
right.
your job? So that to me success, man. It's like I get to enjoy seeing the success of my children at a close and intimate level because of the relationship I have.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. That's a big thing, isn't it? Like you think. Sorry, not to segue off, but like, fuck, mate, like all you men, you got to see your life as quarters. So you can still win the fucking game. Like you're probably in the third quarter, most of you men. Some might still be a little bit in the second. I've just entered the third quarter and it's like, all right, but between 40 and 60, what can I do? Between 60 and 80, what can I do? How can I be the greatest? Like think today. Don't live there because all that matters is now, but at least think for fucking 3 minutes today. how can I be the most amazing fucking grandfather that my children just fucking love and adore and want to spend time with me in 12, 13, 18 years' time? Don't live there because that doesn't exist yet. But that's what I
Sure.
think about Marco. I'm like, mate, old silver fox, greys, bald, I don't know, whatever I look like when I'm old, a few more wrinkles. Like, how could I just be the most phenomenal grandfather to my grandkids? Like, it's quarters, man.
Yeah. So I'm sort of probably 5 years ahead of you, and all the people who have been my mentors professionally are all retiring or have retired. And yeah, I've got one of those written down, and I'll share that with you all now. As a 60 something, I'm not going to provide unsolicited advice. That's a massive trap for the guys into the fourth quarter. Hey, we're building where this is that time in our lives where everybody listens to us and doors are open everywhere, so we're paralyzed by choice. If you've built a foundation, I'm on the back of a startup, and yeah, there's opportunities and money everywhere based on what I choose to do next. And so it's a great feeling. Yeah, it's very powerful. And I don't, and I see it as a privilege too. I'm very, very fortunate that that's happened, and the first one was successful. But yeah, what I found in that when I reached out to mentors who were back in the end of their career, they're still healthy men. They're still and good people too, by the way. They're my mentors, and I've really leveraged their advice my whole career. But yeah, they get the call on a 2:30 on a Sunday afternoon, like, I was just thinking about that thing we talked about 4 weeks ago. I'm like, bro, we've moved on. I do not need this right now. So unsolicited advice, that's a in the last quarter, you might actually know better, or maybe you do, but if you're too far from the trenches, you got no
Mm,
context. Keep it
mm,
yourself. Wait till you're
yeah.
asked. There's so much ego in unsolicited advice.
Yeah. And then have you earned the right to provide the guidance and the mentorship? And that's what I see, mate. Regardless of how successful you are as a man, how many can you mentee? How many can you bring up and build? How many leaders can you build? Like the game never ends.
Sure.
Yeah, it
What's
never
that? The
ends.
2021 irrefutable laws that we did first
Mm,
quarter this year. Alice, that's the
mm.
last one, isn't it? The law of legacy, or second last
Yes,
one? Yeah.
would be. Yeah, yep. Yeah, awesome, awesome book. But yeah, it's a real thing, man. Being valuable as you get older. Like just on that, and I said this to Corinne. Actually, I need to bring her on next week before the baby pops. But
Mm.
I said to Corinne, what? And I wasn't trying to bait her or anything. I was just genuinely curious. And the same applies for men. But I said to her, hey, what value does an aging woman provide that couldn't be replaced by a younger woman or a man? So it's not a negative question. It's actually going, well, let's list out all the things that are so valuable. And Marco, all I kept coming back to was as a matriarch, relationships and
Mm.
wisdom. It doesn't mean that you can't make money as an older woman, but that's about so now let's flip that. Mate, I'll put that out there one day on a post. We'll see how we go. But no, look, but the same goes for us. Men, what makes you valuable as you get older that can't be replaced um, by a younger man and or a woman? Like it's great that you cook food or do it. No, it's relationships. So what's the best way to drive wholesome, connected relationships?
Mm.
Leadership, and
Yeah.
what's the leadership? I can provide a source of value because I see more and before. That's one of Maxwell's laws. I can see more and
Yeah.
before others around me to provide that. So life becomes an interesting stewardship. I feel blessed. I've got lots of wise men around me, so I'm trying to accelerate the understanding and wisdom. But I'm going to live through it too. I'm not trying to jump ahead and put the and put things out of place. But it is a blessing to have that perspective, man, because then you're always looking to grow. You're always looking to provide more value. Um,
Yeah. I mean, contentment and happiness. This is one I did with my cousin just recently. Sort of decoupling. What are we calling it? Expectations from aspirations. We make our expectations. You're going to brush your teeth twice a day. You're going to go to the gym 3 or plus times a week. You're going to drink a lot of water and have great sleep hygiene. You're going to avoid substances that, you know, you don't have the psychological control to manage, whatever that is, sugar, coffee, alcohol, other things. these are the expectations I have of myself. But aspirations, if I decouple them, I used to, as a 24-year-old man, I just wish I could go in and intervene. Like, I'm like, guys, I used to wail on myself. Like, yes, it yielded a great result and I went to two Olympics, but it didn't have to be like that. And I do think it actually pulled me. So I had a lot of injuries as an athlete. You're like, don't start me on injuries as an athlete, Marco. So I know your background there, Al. But yeah, so in my knees and my neck. And yeah, that was irrational, what I was pushing myself to achieve. There was no optimization happening there. I was just wailing on myself if I just a millimeter off course. And that's just wasted energy, yeah? So decoupling aspirations from expectations is probably, if we're jumping around in my life, that's what I learned sort of 5, 7 years out of uh, the Olympics. That, you know, when you are an athlete like that, you can just optimize every quarter of your life, every section, every day. But when you're out here in the big bad world, you've got options, yeah. What are you optimizing exactly? And that's why I love this family self and service that we use here at HPF. It just makes it so much easier. You can sort of, it's a, you know, in life we need lighthouses that are, tell us where the rocks are, and it's great for ships in the water moving slowly, but also for planes. Yeah, they're in the sky. We're using engineering to keep them up there and concentrated hydrocarbons, and they got to come down. Yeah, they can't just stay up there indefinitely. You can probably bob around an ocean for a long time without petrol. You can fish some fish and have a good old time, but you're in the sky, you got to come down, yeah? So what do we do in the sky? We don't have lighthouses. We have landing beacons, and we have lights that tell you if you're too high or too low. We have shutters that tell you if you're too fast or too slow. And HPF, using my nerd engineering analogies, has those things. We have shutters to land, lights that are too high, too low, like get you on course, yeah? Because you've got to come down. When you've got a tank full of fuel, your wings are full of fuel, up you go, your trajectory, like you say, 24-year-old man, whoop, away we go, like full throttle, let's do it, get to altitude. But the opposite, like we got to come down, and it cycles over life, but it also cycles over the day and the week. So those landing beacons are so important, and there's so many. I mean, what do we say? Stand on the shoulders of giants. The methods are here. The methods are many. The adaptations are few. So just have a peek under the bonnet if you can. I'm just a punter here. Yeah. It's Al's company, but geez, I came to HPF looking for systems for my business. Well, I'm about to say leave, not leaving. I'm still in HPF because of the family circles and the self circles. I was applying Olympic mentality to career. That's fine. It works ish. There's burnout there, but it works ish. At home, it doesn't. At being at longevity, nah, doesn't work. So yeah, there's a lot of systems in here that keep us safe, keep us on track. But yeah, the beacons, the lighthouses, and the landing beacons, they're all in here. Have a look. Do the 21-day challenge. What are we, day 3 at the moment, Al? That's a way to peek under the bonnet. Have a look at these amazing systems we developed. I think it's $5 or something, isn't it? Al, whatever it is. That's the Red Hot Marriage Playbook. 21-day challenge. Have a go, guys. You got nothing to lose.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, if you guys are keen and interested, so we have 3 different phases, right? So happy to share. We did do some promos and some ads and hand them out, but just flick us an email, admin@highperformancefather.com, and we'll give you phase 1. It's awesome, man. Like, eight small, very achievable, short set targets that assist you across your life, including a time management. 21 days, mate, 168 victories. How good. 3 weeks to rack up those amount of win. That's what it is. It's always the micro steps that leads to the biggest outcomes too. So we do count them as victories, and you check that box and you do 8 every day of these little habits, and you move through. Actually, it's probably one of the earlier podcasts as well. It is. Mate, phenomenal. Yeah, I love it. The 21-day foundations, all the members go through it, but then obviously it is our 21-day challenge, which is phase 1. Love it, man. We should be hiring you as a staff member. You'd be our analogy king. That was a brilliant.
I love a good analogy. Yeah, that's my grads always talk about it. They're like, strap in. We're going cross country here. It's the metaphors.
Mate, that was so good. Yeah, it's all metaphors. Sorry, but yeah, it's mate, incredible, incredible.
Both correct. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that's important, man, like the reason why this company and the business exists, that's like the life force and what will drive the mission. So that is important. Having a business, having a company, that's like a source of leadership that draws people in and drives towards results that help them individually achieve what they want. But collectively, Marco, it's the fucking vision, man. Like might be my company. It doesn't fucking matter. It's actually the vision that we all buy into. I fucking love that, mate. Like that's what drives me. It makes it so fucking easy to do the hard things. And then the vision means we're all bought in on it. There's a mission that we all execute on, regardless of what hat that we wear. It really is it's so interesting, man. Like the more successful we become, the more humble I become in simply being a caretaker. And I fucking love that, mate. Like it's just it's unreal. And I would implore all of you men to explore in not just self and family and but but all of it. But yes, not just service, sorry, but all of it. But yeah, in service, is there something that I can really drive where I can create a purpose, a mission, and something that I'm bought in on? Like it's deeper than do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life, mate. There's so many fucking hard things every day that I got to do,
But
man.
and like you say, analogies and metaphors, and you also have, if you love cooking, don't become a chef. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
like
right.
is an equal and opposite to all those sayings,
100%.
bro. Like
Oh,
at
mate.
some point you've got to grind. You've got to
All,
go.
yeah, mate. If we only did what I wanted, all we would have is fucking 5,000 podcasts, mate. I fucking love this. This charges me
Oh,
up. This
cool. Yeah,
energizes me.
right.
That's all we would do, mate. Like, what do we do? One podcast a week, sometimes two. Like, it's like this is like the
Yeah.
highlight for the week for me, man. But I love the fucking pushing shit uphill and work because the benefits and the
Mhm.
outcomes of the mission and the vision. That's what makes it so easy. It's weird. Like it's super hard, but the decision to do it, sorry, is easy. Like drawing from some of the old man's wisdom, it's like, this is really fucking hard, mate. Like helping middle aged men drive towards a mission and vision that the world's trying to fucking attack at the moment, especially through masculinity. It's like, it's a pretty hard thing to rally the fucking troops, ask them to be part of the mission and vision by investing not just money, but time and energy and collectively be aligned. That's
Yeah. And
every
without
business
being
is
too
fucking
preachy,
hard.
that's the bit I
That's,
love about here. We're not like where what's that? What's the great analogy? It's stumbling uphill. You're gonna fall. If you're running fast enough, you're gonna trip. But
yeah.
as long as your trajectory is correct, as long as you're going uphill, dust yourself off. We'll be here for you if you want to jump on the inside. Call your mates. Find a way if you not ready for HPF. But this is where it works. We fail hard, we fail often, we fail so well on the right path.
Mm.
But yeah, further to your grind point, the other one I really like, and so I was in doing some Olympic analogies. You got me on here because of my five circle dream, so we'll do some Olympic stuff. I was in a sport. It's a race sport. Yeah, finish line doesn't discriminate. Can love it. I was a fat little kid. I can align with your green cordial. If you want to jump back to the first podcast, talk about green cordial. For me, it was Mars bars. So yeah, I just had volume of food was incorrect. The type of food I was eating was incorrect. And this is without my mum knowing it clearly. So I was probably a pretty lean and well put together kid when I got here from PNG. I didn't have access to that stuff, hey. So yeah, at school, at the way to school, I could spend my money. I've always been pretty crafty with money. Dad tells a story how, he'd asked the trade store, he's like, how come Mark's got all these pocket money? And the trade store guy was like, does Mark not spend anything here? Your brother's always up here. They're like, we go to whatever it was, Kina a week, which is like $4, $5 a week in today's money. And the trade store guy's like, oh no, Andrew comes here and spends, that's my brother's name. Yeah, Andrew comes here and spends his money. Mark just puts it on the tab. So I took it up on the company tab. Whoop, whoop, that'll pick that one up. Thanks, buddy.
It's gold. That's
I had all
awesome.
my keenness at the end of the year when I needed them.
That's right. That's awesome.
So yeah, there's the my favorite analogy came from a we're jumping around here, but I'll get back to it, I promise. I had a cab driver and he was from Syria. And I was headed to the airport to go to a power station, which is kind of what my career is, typically flying somewhere to start a power station that is in an odd place, or to work on it. And this fellow was good. He was clear. He had scar on his face, like it's. I had to say the cliche, but he's clearly from a war. He was well put together, fit, tall, and driving an Uber at 4:30 in the morning, dropped me at the airport. And I had a good conversation with him. Hey, and he's like, he just come from the UAE. And I said, mate, it's tough for you here. I appreciate what you're trying to do here. You're going to build. He had three kids. And he's like, Australia's amazing. I was like, how could you not have resentment? Like you're marginalized here. He's like, nah, bullshit. He's like, all you have to do in Australia if you want money is walk outside, look up, and open your arms. He's like, it's everywhere. Opportunity and money is everywhere here. He's like, in UAE, I couldn't be too successful or I would have been shot. And there's
Mm.
some perspective for you, hey? And so, yeah, if you're sailing a bit close to the wind, maybe there's a bit too much beer or cigarettes in your life. The vices are expensive, hey? Gambling's expensive, and I'm not talking you
Mm.
down. I've had my dance with vices as well. And yeah, my Irish family, geez, alcohol's a big part of my extended family, and as a vice, hey. Um, so yeah, just do what you can, hey, but get some help. There's so many programs out there. If you're on the bungers, just kick it because it's so expensive. If you're struggling with money, it's out there. I guarantee you. You've got impediments in your own way that it makes you not like my cab driver. Walk outside,
Mm.
look up, open your arms. There's money around, yeah. There's value to be made.
Absolutely. Well, if you really sit down and explore all of the facts, you'll see like things like cigarettes and eating shit food and all that stuff. It really does add up, man. I got a little piece here I just was sharing with the coaches. Get to the truth, because the truth, like that unveils everything. Get to the truth of
Hmm.
everything that matters, and then find the best truth and make that one stick. Like if you really take a hard look, you're like, oh yeah, no, no my wife's doing this with gambling, or it doesn't even have to be you. Like any sphere of influence inside of your life that impacts you, you can really explore the facts and without too much digging, get to the truth of the situation. Whether it's financial opportunity, reward or not, it's the old Jim Rohn saying, "Don't wish for the winds to change. Develop the skills to set a better sail." Like, mate,
Hmm.
like HPF in what it's becoming, it's definitely not about me, but the spark was me being at the fucking worst point of my life and everything falling
Hmm.
apart. No marriage,
Hmm.
no fucking money, no connection with my daughter, body falling apart from an ex. I had fucking nothing, mate. It's like from nothing. There wasn't a higher performing father or some other fucking thing I could just, copy. Not that we ever have or ever will, but there wasn't something I could model or see and go, I'm like, oh, I'll have a fucking crack. I'm pretty big with coming back from adversity. So let's work on mindset and fitness. And that was the start of RDM. That's all it was. I didn't know
Yep.
about fucking marriage or fatherhood. They were parts of my life that were so novice and building. But what I love though, Marco, is we will have the field manual for life for men in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, which might be a series of books, might just be one, who knows,
Yeah.
but it's exciting. I love the
Yeah,
stumbling up the
if
hill.
I had to distill your secret superpower from seeing on the inside here, is everything becomes a system rapidly. So if you're running a business and you're charting new waters, be like Al, and actually if you do something, document it so that others can follow in your path rapidly. I throw back to all the old RDM stuff, and I'm still picking through content here. I think there's more hours of content in HPF than there are hours in the year. So I got a bit to do, but I'm doing my best. I'm picking through it at 1.5 speed. You speak fast already, and at 1.5 speed, it's like you're like a rapper. But yeah, there's gold nuggets in amongst it, apart from the specific content that I'm looking at. But yeah, so you systematize things. Is that a word? I think it is.
Yeah, it is. No,
Being
the Yanks use it a
systematic,
fair bit, but it is
systematize.
it is a word. Yeah, systematize.
Ah,
I
yeah.
say
So
systemize, but yeah, they're both words. Yeah.
beautiful. We'll do that. Whatever that is, make it into a system. Yeah. Um, and that
Yes.
is your secret superpower. Nothing for the second time has to be learnt for the first time.
Yes. The other thing too on that, mate, is and boys, that doesn't mean that I haven't had to fucking rebuild systems, right? As we evolve. You talk about all the
Oh,
content.
yeah.
I've got about
Sometimes
400.
sometimes Zuckerberg takes his system away from you, well.
That's right. He does. That's right. But what's exciting though, mate, is yeah, I can't help myself, but we've got probably 400 videos that I'll be shooting with resources and instead of the courses we currently have, which are phenomenal, I'm actually going to break them all down into micro courses. So it never fucking ends, but I love that. And you always come back to the fundamentals again. What's the most valuable thing here for these men that can, and
Yeah.
value isn't just based in content, it's based in time and attention required in a distracting world that's super fast. So making sure they're
Yeah.
getting exactly what they need. Mate, it's going to be, I'm pretty excited about it. But that's just one aspect though. But yeah,
And
it's,
what
it's,
you've done is provide an analogy there of a really cornerstone concept that my cousin helped me with, and also my trainer, who's a mate of mine, Piers Quine at Queensland Kettlebells. Come down if you're in Brisbane, change your life. Um, yeah, it's the idea that you are enough. So just like we talked about those rocks, the lighthouse, that's one of them. If you're wailing on yourself, if your self-talk is negative and you cannot take a break, the one that brought me to tears, actually, I was sobbing at the drive. I was trying to drive to pick someone up from the airport, and I had to pull over because I couldn't safely drive. And the words were, if you treat yourself in a way that you would not tolerate someone treating your daughter, change.
Mm.
And I thought, and I was like, for the time over the Gateway Bridge, the 2.5 minutes to descend that bridge, I was just listening to my monologue and how negative it was, how furiously horrible I was to myself. It's not that we
Mm.
shouldn't have discipline. It's not that we shouldn't try and improve. But what you just said there, is just a little tweak. You're like, it's all right when I'm always trying to change. And that was pretty lighthearted, yeah. But you also, beneath that, you think you're enough. You've done enough. Like you are enough as you are. Just like the expectations and aspirations, expectation is start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. So build from where you are. You are surrounded, God, you are, I know where you are in your life, El, but you listening, you are surrounded by victories. You have no idea how
Mm.
powerful you are and that which you can consolidate on now. Look to your victories, look to and celebrate them. Just turn that voice that just wailed on you for whatever you did, turn it and make it go, hang on, mate. You just worked a full day. You just were creative and altruistic in your business. You drove home, got some fuel, and you didn't pick up a candy bar. Good job. Like, double down on that. And to start with, it seems facetious when we say that in our head. You're like, self high five, I call it. I walked out of the servo without a donut. Super duper. I'm a donut kid. I was a big kid, hey? That sugar is pervasive for me. I just love it. And so I just avoid it, yeah, without wailing on myself. So there's that. You can use that same thing, becomes your superpower. But you're enough as you are, 100%. You're surrounded by wins. I believe it. I don't even know who you are. You're listening now. You made it to however far through this podcast you have. Maybe you're on the stepper machine and you can't get to it. You're like, Marco, shut up. You can't get to your phone to turn it off. But
Nah,
the
not at
idea
all.
you build where you are. So you are enough, but you also have to challenge yourself. It's the ultimate juxtaposition of personal development and for me of parenting. I love you just the way you are. You're absolutely enough. You do not have to change. But if you so chose to challenge yourself in an area of yourself, this is me talking to my daughters now, that you determined to be important, I'm here. Let's build. Let's get better.
Mm.
They fly in each other's face emotionally, but you can exist in both spaces, but not at the same time.
And that's the last part is so important. Like, let's break it down, man, into a moment. What's a moment? 3 seconds. So you are enough in this moment. But then ask yourself the question, but what's possible in the next moment? Like, don't even
Mm,
worry about fucking decades, years, and months and weeks. Like, break it down. I am enough right now in this moment for this podcast with Marco. But I wonder what's possible in the next moment. You know, when I talk about, hey, you know what, momentum is actually built more, Marco, off the things that you shouldn't be fucking doing that you don't do, as opposed to things you actually create
sure.
and do. Because you're spot on, man. You guys will create so much more fucking progress through not doing the stupid shit that every other fucking person does, as opposed to having these brilliant, great ideas. Like, look at HPF: structure, capacity, skills, consistency. Build structure so you've got your priorities ordered. Develop the skill sets to be able to convey a level of leadership to all the circles of your life. Develop the capacity so you have a high level of energy as an organism that can operate throughout the day. Do it lots of fucking times and keep tweaking and adjusting. So just then, I've said that before, but it's like, well, yeah, cool. So maybe I'm the same Al this moment as I was 12 moments ago, which is 36 seconds. Doesn't fucking matter, mate. When you zoom right out and look in years, months. Marco, I've changed so much, man, in the last 6 months. I'm entering an
Sure.
era of leadership now where I'm looking to develop leaders, not so much
Mm.
just systems and just be a master technician. I fucking love it. I feel called for that part. Like, I'm like, but mate, you know what? Every time I tried to cut fucking corners and be this leader building other leaders, I got fucking burned badly. And that was me, my fault. I'm not saying other people. Like, I failed. And I was like,
Mm.
you can't shortcut this, man. Earn your fucking
Good.
stripes, go through brick by brick. And that started something as simple as, I will get to it, boys, and do a podcast on it. Something simple as going, well, hang on a minute. What do we actually fucking stand for? These are the HPF tenets. That was my very first, that was my rebirth into leadership. I was like, cool. You're either fucking in this or you're not. Otherwise, you won't be a team player and you're not part of the team. The end. And that, I was like, fuck, where was that? And I look back at all the mistakes I made, the poor hires, the lack of standards, everything over the years. And I'm like, fuck me, if only I had these tenets. But I wasn't the man at the time to be able to see
Sure.
it.
You know what the hardest one for me is, Al?
What's that?
Hardest of the five? Seek growth, love, and joy.
Mm,
That one for me doesn't come naturally. I see myself as an agent of service to this environment, to this society, the environment that keeps us alive, society that's around us, and my family. Yeah, they need everything from me. But and for lots of followers coming into this, got to be 100 to give 100. That's cans of Coke and get into the gym. That's their 100. They got to get their cardio up. I also had a bit of a head start to Olympics, etc. So I had my physicality pretty well sorted on the way in, but I wasn't at 100 because I would give everything of
Mm.
myself. There was nothing left for me, and you got
Mm.
to start there. So I got to tinker. That's part of I got into my career as an engineer because I love tinkering. I love engines. I love moving parts. I love the noise and the heat. Motorsport for a patch there too. It's fundamentally frivolous. I enjoyed it. I watch it on the weekend, so I'm not above it. But I went a different trajectory into clean energy because it has more agency for me. It's more purposeful. I can help people and environment in my overlap using my nerd skills that not everyone has in this society. Yeah. So find your superpower and double down on it. Hey. But yeah, so
Mm.
tinker. So now sitting here, I mean, I got my stupid drag car here, and a lot of my renewable energy friends struggle with it. But
Awesome.
that's their life, and this is mine. My mates come round, we do work on this car. It's cool, it's fun. I'm not hurting anyone. Yeah, we've got chassis links have just gone in. This thing's about to get. It came out with 140 horsepower. I'm shooting for 700. That's adequate for family safety. Crisp mergers. Yeah, we've got a dream, but this one is not time bound. It takes parts of me, but it's 4 or 8 hours a week. Yeah. Another follower on the inside, shout out to Vinny. He gave me permission. We're talking, and he's like, you can work on that, Marco. You 4 hours a week, that's okay.
Mm.
You're not a robot. You can do it.
Yes. Yeah, that's
So,
it's so
yeah,
important. It really rounds out the tenets as well. Like when you look at not masculine, but how driven they are. So all of our tenets are action based, which I
sure.
love. It's not respect, integrity, and
Go all in and
fucking
stay all
word.
in.
It's
That's
yeah, it's they're
yeah,
action
the
based. But
game.
seek
Yeah,
growth, love, and joy is the beautiful equalizer to take
sure.
ownership, perform with excellence, be a fucking man of your word. Well, it doesn't say the swear word, but be a man of your
Yeah.
word. Um,
But it makes
Bleed
it
for your
sustainable.
brothers. Be
Without that
you,
fifth
show
one,
you.
Al, we're not sustainable. If it's the
Mm,
first four, then you're just burning the candle. You're at the
yes.
wick to maximum, yeah?
Yep.
And you're going to break. You don't get that full third quarter and fourth quarter that you were talking about before. You're going to cook yourself.
Well, there's the spirit of the man. So we talk about family, self, and service, but it's like a disc now, Marco. When you turn that upside down, there's actually the spirit of the man, and look underneath
Mm,
that, and which I'm working on as an evolution for the circles of significance as an actual disc that has the man on top of the spirit of the man underneath. So without love and joy, and it's not something you have to do alone either. Like mate, Corinne got me a golf set. I haven't played golf 15 years for my 40th, and I had one
nice.
hit, and Roman loved it, and I was like just showing him the clubs and putting in the house, which probably I did a bit of chipping and I stopped that quickly. Definitely don't chip inside the house. That's just my advice to everyone. Don't do chipping, putting only. But I'll get those little balls with the holes, but there's still no guarantee where it'll go. Not at my skill level. But so I was like, okay, well, Roman's birthday coming up, and they were so cheap, mate. Got him a set. You only get like 3 or 4 clubs in the kids ones. These will last him
Yeah.
years. Mate, we're going to the driving range together. I brought him with me and had a hit of golf, which obviously was the worst game I ever played. Not because of him, but it was raining, it was wet. But we're in the cart driving around. He loved it, and I was like, mate, that's seek growth. That's important. We want to feel like we're progressively mattered, like we progressively matter in life as we age because things keep changing. But the love and joy man's a big one. That's really helped me because, like yourself, I've just been head down, bum up for nearly 8 years with HPF, and it's you got to stop and breathe. And yeah, you can have outlets like gym and other things, and I'm looking after myself. But no, you got to. And it's always in the simple things. If we talk about love, men, it really is like go for a walk and just look and appreciate and have gratitude towards the shape of an ironbark tree and how fucking beautiful that is. Like an ironbark is completely different to to the eucalypt, and then they're super smooth and they incredible patterns, and maybe there's a trail of ants. Or I was laughing the other day with the kids. An ant was carrying, of all things, there was an ant carrying a bottle brush, like a whole, not the actual
Oh, yeah.
set of it, but one of the little shoots. That's
Sure.
pretty fucking big for an ant, like a whole shoot of it. And we're just laughing. I'm like, what's he carrying that for, mate? Me and the kids spent 5 minutes watching him to see where it would go. Mate, that's like, it's not just love in relationships, it's a love for life and what we get to experience. I'll do a session on that though, boys, but it's good that you're so aware and dialed in on not the flaws,
Um,
but where you can enhance like a sculptor with clay. I really
I
love
think
that about
you're being too nice there. It looks pretty shiny. I'm kind of articulate and I speak fast, hey, but it wasn't easy. and I'm not so aware. It was hard. I had to work on it. I have to work on it every day. So, but I put it on the wall, like you say, and I check in like every week using the systems you've developed. Did I do it? Like, have I done it? Have I spent time for myself, seek growth, love, and joy? And sometimes we do need to go. Like, I still performed quite well before I had all these systems and the bits that make me nice to myself. Last quarter was Jasmine's first shot at rep basketball. Same idea. She never asked to be born. She needs everything I've got to make the most out of that opportunity that she qualified for. It was like a B grade Disney film. She made the A team. She's a third shortest in the entire trials, 400 kids, 300 kids trialing. Like it's a big deal.
Wow.
And then 2.5 days later, head coach calls. He's like, I'm benching her. She's going to the B team. I'm like, whoo, all right, let's see how this plays out. And Jasmine was not happy. There was tears and there was self-doubt and all these things. And it's just a matter of letting space, like working on it. And when the monster came back out, I was like, how about you and me, and we find anyone in our network that knows basketball, and we make them regret that decision. We make you the best player on the bees. We make you everything you can be. Um, let's feed the fire with this. And I don't know how option one would have played out. And Steve, the coach, he's a good guy. Hey, he knows basketball. He adores the game. He could be coaching at the highest level in Australia. And he's got 12-year-old girls because he's a good man. So he did nothing wrong here, yeah. And he pulls me up 4 or 5 weeks later. He's like, it would have been the speed she has, but the time, bench time, like she would have been riding a pine. She was my second point guard. And so she'd get minutes in the other team. And I was like, cool, let's do it. Let's go. Like it's done. It doesn't, I know from sport. Here's an interesting stat. Everyone asks me how to make their kids good at sport because I went to two Olympics. And my answer is always at what age, apart from gymnastics and diving, I'll put the caveat, at what age, Al, do you think we can actually have a knowledge based on a kid's results, whether they're going to be good at elite sport at the highest level or not? What age do you think it is?
Elite sport. Geez, originally I would have said early, but mate, I started at 19 and made first grade. So yeah, I'd say it'd be much older than people
21,
think.
20 to 21.
There you
So
go.
it actually doesn't matter when you're 12.
Mm.
Don't get injured. Don't get injured. And have enduring joy and passion for the sport or chess or whatever it is you're doing or your kids are doing. Yeah. So it doesn't matter that her results this year, yes, they're on the internet, but it doesn't matter. As long as she has enduring passion for the sport and maximizes the envelope that she's given, like the gifts she's given, if she's able to play within those and push that envelope, that is the achievement we're looking for from sport. And that's probably a good caveat for me. Like, so she did really well. She won the uh, defensive award for her little team. And yeah, it was funny because I reached out to my network, another bunch of blokes like Brent Charlton and Eric Huang, who probably enjoy this podcast and this movement. And they were amazing. They were like moss to the flame. They couldn't help. So they're like, I'm getting 3 times a week. They're like, these drills, try this. There's a shooting trainer. Like, you reach your network because there's only so much you can do yourself, man. I'm an ice hockey player and a speed skater. What the fuck do I know about basketball? Nothing. But I've got powerful friends, yeah, who want to lean on this network and lean back, yeah. So shout out to those boys. They were instrumental in that as well. As was Jasmine's coach, Marie. She's amazing. Jazzy's all heart and so's Marie. So hats off to that entire team. But yeah, it was chuckles from my best mate Brent. He was like, Jasmine has a irrational perception that every loose ball on the court is hers. She just hasn't got it yet. And that's how she won the defensive award. Very proud of her. She did great. But it's less about those stats, hey, and that trophy, and more about what it revealed in herself. Yeah,
Mm.
we'll do a tour of my Olympics, and then I'll come back to talk up my big girl. She's not a scoreboard sport, finish
You
line
need
sport
you
kind of
need to get
girl.
her just show us some Muggsy Bogue highlights. Muggsy Bogues.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, this is the thing, Al. Like,
That dude
and
was a
so there's
weapon,
an
man.
analogy here. So she's not short anymore. She went from being the third shortest on the team at the start of the thing. She's now the third tallest. She just got her
Oh
growth
wow,
spurt
she's had a
at
big
that
oh
time.
mate,
So
that's phenomenal. Wow.
yeah, and so she
How
learned all
good.
the mongrel from being a small player, and she was like, Dad, she sort of looked around at some point. She'd been playing for 9 months, yeah. She's like, Dad, I'm really short. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's why everyone passes your ball. Everyone assumes the short person on the court is the point guard. So just accept the pass and run up the court, bouncing the ball. Like it's everything's perspective, hey, and
Mm.
perception. Yeah. Just
Man,
indulge them.
yeah,
All right, yeah, I'm a point guard. Here's my ball. Like up we go.
yeah.
I'll marshal the play.
Man, that growth spurt though. There's something, not to go too far left field, but there's something that I'm very curious about with at a deeper level what we activate inside of our hormones. And the only other example, maybe Pat Rafter, how he had a massive growth spurt and crushed tennis, but
Mm,
Michael Jordan. I remember like this dude, everyone in his family's short, his brother was short, and just some of the physiological changes in his hand and the way his hand is designed with a much lower thumb that grabs the ball and his growth
mm,
spurts. I don't know, like again, this seems a bit woo-woo, but I'm like, if that dude was living, breathing, obsessively channeling at a deeper than subconscious psychological level through to the core of his being, this identity, this is what I desire, almost like the whole law of attraction. I just wonder, man. I really do. It's not that, hey, I want to think about getting taller and I get taller. It's just, I've heard a few, not just MJ and your daughter, but I've heard a few times of people just literally their physiology adapting and changing, obviously over many
yeah,
moons, not just 1 year of growth, but
yeah.
it's such an interesting thing.
I think I think there's I think about it more like a statistics. I'm there with you, and yes, you will if you focus on it. So things like music and art and drama, they're the tricky ones, yeah, because it's grey matter, your synapses. So that's
Mm.
that asymptotes to what appears to be metaphysical in adaptation. But I just think there is a what we need to do is find someone's spark as parents. I think this is one thing. Find their spark and just hope and keep snacking or keep doing proper three-course meals on sport until their spark aligns with something that their physiology and their emotions are good at. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really important and really enjoyable to be good at something, and that's being lost. It's not actually like there's some pervasive sections of society saying we shouldn't compete and this and that. Of course we should, but within the rules. And we should look after our team and we should look after each other and ourselves. Striving is great. Being
Mm.
competitive to a fault is not. They're different things. Yeah. So striving for something, and that it teaches us. Like I don't want to manufacture the adversity I had with a civil war. It gave me many great attributes, but screw that noise. I don't want to put my girls through that. And that's not a reflection on my parents making bad choices. That's what happened. Yeah. Um, yeah. We don't need to manufacture genuine adversity because it surrounds us in those amazing sort of
Mm.
the rules of basketball have evolved over hundreds of years to make it an amazing sport. To
Mm.
level it so we can all play. Same for rugby league, same for, well, the league hasn't been around for that long, but you know what I'm saying,
Mm.
football, soccer. There's so many things around that we can actually try and be good at. And non-competitive, you go to arts and drama objectively, some people are better actors, but it's such a welcoming community. It's so lovely. Some people are better singers. There's a
Mm.
physiology to
Mm.
that as well, obviously. But yeah, just seek out your spark, seek out your kid's spark. And it doesn't have to be what you want them to be good at or what you used to be good at. Find what's good for them. And it might just be
Mm.
the cohort that they land on. Maybe they don't even care about scouts, but they find three really good mates there, and that's their little tribe for a patch. And that's great.
Mm.
And maybe it changes too. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
I
It's not
agree, man.
about results. It's about intent and striving to make yourself
Yep.
better
Absolutely. No,
objectively.
agreed.
Yeah,
As I
yeah.
keep moving through life, I used to channel a lot of fear of failure. The old boy from Western Sydney, grew up in the
Mm,
Riff, all that stuff, and chip on the
yeah.
shoulder, I'll show them. So there was a big fear of failure that drove me. But
Mm,
the older I get, the more I realize that it's such a small. It's like, and we I don't know, should's a strong word, but we can utilize that as fuel. But it's a little rocket booster. It's not it's the love for greatness. You need both, but I think the ratios as I get older are far more skewed towards 90+% being that love for greatness. And for you guys out there who have kids and they're showing athletic ability or they're not, or you've got ambitions for them to be a high performer in sport or not, it doesn't matter. What's important is, like Marco said, you help them find the spark and then you just stoke the flame. Whereas what I find, mate, is parents just chuck a whole fucking bunch of wood on the fire and it just dampens it and it goes out. So being obsessed with like imagine if I tried to make Roman Tiger Woods now, man, the dude would be whether he kept playing golf or not, it'd just be such a grind for him. Why? He's
Yeah.
five, So stoke the flames. Don't throw a whole bunch of fucking wood on the fire because you think you've got
Yeah.
a sure thing in validating your status as a successful parent because you believe your kid will be fucking great at sport. Just honor the moment and enjoy the ride because it's their life too. You don't own them. You're a caretaker for them. That might be harder as Roman gets older and is crushing people on the fucking football field, and I'm watching him just ripping. Maybe he won't even play sport. He loves footy, but it's like, oh man.
Yeah. But I
Anyway,
mean,
but we'll see. He'll do him,
the
and
thing
I'll
we
support it.
learn we don't want to project onto our kids our lost successes. But by the same token, don't walk away from it. My career was riddled with injuries, and so that was my once I was so I'm here with Jazzy and making sure she doesn't turn on herself or she's too hard on herself. Tash was the mother hen. She's keeping her emotionally healthy and safe and really well fed and really well slept. We're aligned on that massively. So those success bits, you see me at down the court as her club coach. That's, it's just as much Dash's effort to keep her safe and well fed and sports my theater, yeah. But what did I do? I flex my network, and we're at the physio, and I want to make sure. Yes, she's 12, but she's moving fast and training a lot. Yeah, soft tissue. She was at the limit of her capacity to recover, at the limit, and that's the point. And so, yes, my career was hampered by injury, but I also learned from that. So we go in there, get an assessment. Left ankle's not all it's cracked up to be. I didn't even know that before I walked in there. No, stand on the shoulders of giants. Go to my mate's physio at QSMC here at the Gabba, and we found out find the deficiencies and then make them not
Mm,
before that ankles and knees. That's what stops people from playing basketball.
mm,
Makes
yes.
sense, I suppose, because they're so gangly and they play so much. The volume in basketball is incredible. Better than my sport. My sport was so hard, high, physically demanding that we couldn't actually do the fun bit, which was going fast, that often. Because
Mm,
it's really hard. Like your quads are working really hard and you're pushing G's on G's, yeah.
mm,
So speed skating, ice skating, short track, if you want to look it up, that was my sport. But yeah, yeah. So there's a bit we can leverage without being self-effacing from what we learned, yeah, from our shortcomings. But it's not about pushing them; it's about supporting them.
mm. Absolutely agreed. So just on that, then let's walk me through the Olympics, mate. I know
Mm.
if you've spoken some great philosophies, we've danced around a little bit, but mate,
Sure.
that is a big thing. I'd love to go through. It's been an amazing session with you too, mate. I just
Thanks, mate. Yeah,
this could have been a
likewise.
4 hour Rogan special, but no, I think
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think it'd be good to go through, mate. The Olympics, like the process, what you did, who you had to
Sure.
be, because it comes with good and bad. I'm sure, mate. I would if I was going to do something like that, I'd have to be pretty self-driven. Not selfish, but definitely self-driven.
Sure.
In hey, I've got to
Yeah.
focus on me right now, which is fair.
Yeah.
Walk us through that, mate, and then maybe we'll convert that into hey, you've spoken about your beautiful wife and kids, and I guess some life lessons, learnings, and the ultimate Olympics of life. Yeah, let's start with um with that journey, that experience for you.
Sure. Oh no, it's an interesting one. So, what do we say? Adversity reveals character. It doesn't build it. I'm fully believe that. Yeah. So my Olympic journey starts. My brother is very talented. Is. To be the proper nerd, the engineer's version of that. Low cycles to competency. That's what I mean by talent. Very easy to learn things. He was my hero growing up. He's just everything he touched turned to gold. He's so talented. Um, we were very competitive, but in at that stage when I first started, also very good mates. Um, yeah, so 12 years old. I had a huge problem with asthma, still do, and have to manage it actively. There was a big change in the sulfur composition of both petrol here in Queensland, but also in the power stations, and that was the biggest change in my life. But it was that adversity was excellent. So, like you say, Michael Jordan's thumb. Mine was my lungs. So my lungs should be 5.4 liters for my mass, my size when I finished skating. It's ticking. It's just a scotch under 9 liters. So can breathe. Yeah, can breathe. Does work. Does work. Yeah. But that was an adaptation to adversity. So they didn't work. So they got bigger.
Mm.
Nothing was working. So I went. Mum was amazing through all of this. She was just relentless trying to get me healthy. Different drugs, different some medicine, different different places, and I was trying to train all without. So hospitalized with asthma, yeah, proper debilitating asthma. Um, and it sort of set in with puberty. So 12, I was at primary school. I came second at the cross country and I won the 100. And I can distinctly remember watching Tim Brooks just clear out on me. I was like, oh, I got to get this guy. But I didn't realize quite anomaly that I was both middle and long and sprint. So there was some physiology there working for me right from the get-go. Fast forward 2 years and I came second to last in the grade 9 cross country. I couldn't breathe, Al. I wasn't metering my capacity to run. I was metering staying conscious. I was seeing stars. I was like my focus would drift in and out. I could only barely get enough air in through the system to remain conscious, let alone run fast. Um, and yeah, it was significant. It was a bit, that my cousin, he's a neuroscientist, very clever man. His favorite saying as a doctor is that a a healthy man wants for everything. A sick man wants one thing, and it
Mm.
just dominates your landscape. Yeah. So my brother, being as talented as he was, touted at many sports. Speed skating, we found it. It was a knack. Dad took us in there. We played rugby league at South Acacia Ridge, and just down the street was the footy club. So we went in there in the off season, so we'd stay fit as best as we could. And this is before my asthma really set in, and we both took to it. Dad, Andrew was good at it. I held my own, and we loved it. It's a really crafty sport. It's super fun, Now It's like a combination of that skill that you get, that pervasive, like persistent having to always improve that you get from golf, but combine that with like motocross level intensity. It's fun. It's good fun. And the finish line doesn't discriminate. Yeah. So the time trialers never won the races because you had to be cunning. You had to
Mm.
move to the front and keep the front. So yeah, anyway, that's our story there. And Andrew at 14 was touted. He was phenom. He was our Australian Michael Jordan. He was very fast, and worked hard for it too. Yeah, not just talent. He had aptitude as well. So fast forward to me being 12, I couldn't breathe, and I was jumping, and I was a fat little kid. I'd found the Mars bars at that stage, and I went into high school at 64 kilos. I left high school at 59 kilos. That's an example of how of my of rectifying a Mars bar addiction. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, and so yeah, I was my Chinese coach. She was there obviously for my brother, but it was just easier for everyone if I stayed there as well during training. Mum and dad were doing their thing; they had to work. It was a big recession. Mum's working at the hospital night shift, and dad's either away or home for periods. And so we'd go walk or ride to Anzang's place, my coach, and Andrew would do his phenomenal training with the seniors, and I could barely jump off the ground. So this is a power-based sport, Al, and there's. My coach tells the story. I was like trying my best, my technique looked fine, my shape looked good, but I could barely get off the ground. Yeah, and this is my challenge, my start. I thought I was, just like my tiny little dog here thinks he's a wolf. I thought I was part of the team. And so I
Mm.
just kept turning up. Nobody told me otherwise. Nobody told me that I lacked any kind of physicality for that sport. So I adapted and found technique, and my body adapted as well. So fast forward 6 or 7 years, mum finally gets on top, helps me get on top of my asthma, and I started to show some promise. And my body had adapted to breathing, and I'd worked on my technique because I had to be efficient. The air wasn't getting in. I had to be efficient.
Mm.
So I was very conscious of my equipment and conscious of my of how efficiently I was skating. But it was also an individual sport, so you can't show weakness. Or at least I thought I couldn't as a teenager and man in my 20s. And so I never told anyone how hard it was, how hard I was working, that I couldn't breathe. Only my mum knew.
Mm.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
show this weakness, and in hindsight, it probably would have helped if I did, because then we could have adapted my programs to suit and all those things. So yeah, just be conscious about that if you're on a similar journey. Same applies to dyslexia in community or in business. If you've got it, wear it on your sleeve, and we can work together to get your other talents. So yeah, back to the Olympic dream. So I can distinctly remember the session. It was a skating session, and our sport. If you look it up, short track speed skating. Um, that's the one, Stephen Bradbury. That's the one. He moved up to Brisbane and joined the team with my older brother and myself. He was from Sydney. So yes, that sport, yeah. With the lycra and the big quads. We're kind of like a speedway car with a big outside wheel, yeah. Only turn left. Um, so yeah. So you can see our sport has high intensity, high G's. So in the middle of that corner, we're 2.5 G's on one leg on a knife. Yeah. So it's a
Mm.
high strength endurance sport and a high power sport. And I can distinctly remember the session, and I was in QE. We were starting to actually, I was actually starting to turn around. Everyone had dismissed me as not having the talent. My brother got it all. He wasn't like that, by the way. He was very supportive. But yeah, and I stayed in zone. I was still playing that same game. I played at the under 14s um, cross country all those years ago. I was managing consciousness. I was breathing as much as I could and going as fast as I could without passing out, which is dangerous on the ice. And I got onto the pack, yeah. So if you think of NASCAR now and in a drafting, I got onto the draft, yeah. And at that point, I made this. I was just washed with lactic acid, hypoxic or whatever the word is when you don't have enough air in your blood. And I made this irrational, right here now we're breathing comfortably, but I made this irrational, but in very, very common sense, very, very, it made perfect sense to me in the moment where I made a deal with my legs. I was like, I'm here. I'm on the pack for the first time in my life. I'm in this session, actually can compete. Yeah, to finish first you must finish. You have to actually be with the leaders in the pack to get there.
Mm.
Yeah. And I can distinctly remember it. So I made this irrational deal with my legs. If you don't quit, I won't quit. And I just leveraged that for the rest of my career. Conversations with my legs, you know? And my job to not quit was to eat good food and to go to bed early, to not go out partying. Yeah, that was my job. So that when it was time to be back in that wash of lactic acid and busting our ass, that my legs had the opportunity to perform. So
Mm.
it's the funny little watershed moments. Hey, I finished that. I was so stoked. I finished that set on the pack. I don't even know if they were trying hard or not. Else irrelevant. It gave me this impetus that like maybe actually I'm not shit at this. Maybe I can do this. And I carried that. So I didn't have per se, uh, if I achieve this, I win. I had this non-negative. So back to the lighthouse and the landing ramps. That was a lighthouse. If you don't quit, I won't quit. And so it meant
Mm.
it was a build. It was talking about where you are and how do I improve. Where you are, how do I improve? And so from 16 through to when I finished skating, my mentality was very muchly focused on improvement, baselining, testing, getting better. And you pop up and you look around, you're like, actually, fuck, I'm actually pretty good at this. Turns out I had the physiology for it and the adaptation. I was very tall for a speed skater. I was in today's sport, I couldn't compete. It was a new sport at that stage. So yes, it took me to two Olympics, Salt Lake City, and I was there that night when Stephen won his magical gold medal that everyone remembers. Where everyone else fell over, he did get in there. Yeah, like he actually got into that race, so that's commendable. Top five in the world. Um, yeah, so that night I came 15th, I think, in that same distance. So and that was about where, with my skills, physiology, I do it differently in hindsight. I'm allergic to dairy. I didn't know that at the time. I'd love to, recut this world with a bit more gentle approach to myself and my development, and to like give myself the good word. You're allergic to dairy, bro. You're not supposed to have the squirts 3 times a day. Didn't know. Didn't tell anyone. You don't talk about poo well. So the taboo told me, stopped me from that. So that would have been interesting to have to recut my career without dairy in my life. But it is what it is. I don't regret it. I did pretty well. I pushed really hard. Made some great mates. Had guys over the weekend for Bathurst. Still good mates. We travelled around the world and stayed in some really cold places and some really cheap hotel rooms. And yeah, we were striving. We were doing what we could. Backwater nation, irrationally representing in a global winter sport. We did really well.
Mm. Powerful share, man. That's Jesus, there's a few things in there, but I love the I mean, we might laugh about the Michael Jordan thumb thing, right, and just growing, but exactly what you did then, like that's what I did that with my knee, bone on bone, no meniscus, no cartilage. Did some crazy shit, 113 kilos,
Mhm.
6'4", pistol squats, everything during the CrossFit times.
Beautiful.
Multiple knee operations. But mate, I used to talk to my knee every day and be like, come
Oh,
on, baby,
nice.
come on, baby, you'll work for daddy today. Work, work, work. We've got a mission at hand. But it was so much in the moment. It wasn't I'm going to win the games. It was actually, like you said, that build. The very first thing that comes to mind, though, which you carried through well, which still makes it a valid question, is what does build character? But I think that's what that is. It's and I'm open to that because I agree with the adversity. It doesn't build it, it reveals it. So what are we building before the adversity comes? And I truly believe that's one component. What you mentioned with the relationship with your legs, which to me really is a set of, it's not even belief. It's actually a set of, I think what would build character would be a set of core values and then following through on commitments that you make. Because then you've got your true north always, or your lighthouse, so to speak. And
Yeah,
then you've
yeah, yeah.
also got a track record that doesn't require confidence, feeling, or a motivation. It's a knowing.
Mm.
But I'm open to your thoughts, man. What does build character? Because that's a pretty like how you develop that is exactly what helped me do what I did with my professional
Uh,
sport, both in footy and in CrossFit. It's very interesting.
I,
Not just a lucky pair
I
of undies, right? It's a proper.
you've made fun of me for my analogies. I'm going to keep going. Nah, you won't make it fun.
What, have you got
So
a
I
blade
think
there or something? Is that a samurai sword? What's in your hand, mate?
it's a steel
Okay,
ruler,
just yes. It's
but
just something.
it'll help me with my analogy. Or a welding rod might be better. Anyway, we're good here. So adversity reveals character. It doesn't build it. Yeah. So throw my dad into that situation without his background, military, and the great knowledge of that situation, the Civil War. You're asking this steel ruler to turn a 90-degree corner. It can't do it. Yeah. But he had the strength and the capability to do that. So the adversity that he was faced with was within the material limits of the plasticity in his mind and the skills he developed.
Mm,
So what I'm always trying to do with the girls and myself is to find that challenge and to develop the character into it. So where are they at? What do they know? And myself, where am I at? What do I know? How can I progress from here? So this character building, character defining stuff. My favorite race ever was the Olympic qualifiers for 2002 in Salt Lake. We were out. So the relay. So it's a cool sport. Hey, look it up, guys. If you made it this far through the podcast, you must be enjoying it. Have a look. It's a sport where we're going flat out. It's like we're on two tennis courts. It's like speedway, but with your own muscles, with knives on your feet. What's not to love? Hey.
and nearly
So the
60
relay.
k's an hour, isn't it? You go nearly 60 k's an hour or
Oh,
thereabouts,
that's a
or
long trackers. We can get up to, yeah, nearly, sure, nearly, like low 50s. So the long track, there's another part of our sport which they don't wear a helmet. You can tell it's us because we've got a lid on. And they're on the track by themselves or with one other person. Yeah, that's on a 400-meter oval. And they're all
okay.
awesome. Their technique is something else. If you can imagine golf, where it was only a driving range, that's the long trackers. So they'd have this perfect driving technique, yeah? And that's what they are. And they're big fellas like you, Al. They're huge mountains of men and women. There's
So
and
fast
it's a
though on the ice. That's
yes, fast across the ice, like irrationally fast. You see them go by when you're right on top of them. You're like, oh, you can do that with your own muscles, without a gear, without a bicycle, not going downhill. Like you can do that. So it is the fastest self-propelled sport that we've ever invented as a species. Anyway, short tracks, long trackers, love you guys, but short tracks way more fun for me because um, it's not you turn up with the tools you have, and it becomes into this it becomes this little game, like just like the reputation I talked to Jasmine about. You're short here, they'll pass you the ball, they'll assume you can handle it, so let's make sure you can. So that as a person in adversity, she's like saw a down short what perceived shortcoming, flip the script, but but the people are going to pass you your ball. So you got to deal with it. You got to look like a guard at that point. You can't just fudge it. So we came home and we ran up and down our cul-de-sac, up and down the street, driving the ball with our dominant and non-dominant hand with our eyes up. That's what makes a point guard because you can scan the environment. So, you've got to work at it still. Yeah, that's adversity, and that's an example that I do for myself as well. So you turn up to a race, and Your reputation. The longer you've been in the sport, the more you have a reputation for how you race and what your physical capabilities. And I fudged so many weekends where people left me at the front because they assumed I had the capacity to turn the wick up, and I did not because I'd been training too hard or was peaking for another competition. So don't discount your capacity for reputation and how far it can carry you without your quads. But anyway, back to that Olympic qualifiers. We were down and out. Hey, top 8 countries make it. One athlete, and this is not an excuse, this is just how the resources work, yeah? One athlete from the States was $1.5 to $2 million to develop. And that's what they spent on them per year. Our entire Olympic, at the time, before we had this Olympic Winter Institute, at the time we were self-funded or just marginally into the Australian Sports Commission funding. And they were great supporters. I'm not talking them down. It's been great. But we had $1.5 million for the 4-year cycle for all athletes. Yeah, we got to make a lot from what we got. Yeah, so our isolation was our benefit, our advantage. Nobody saw how fast we were, how we were training, what we were doing, how we used our gear. The Europeans can see each other. They race each other every other weekend. They're like, oh, what's that guy doing? Oh, look at his left leg. They can adapt to each other's techniques. So our isolation was both our curse but our blessing. So we popped out of this splendid isolation into a World Cup, which was the Olympic qualifier. And the first weekend didn't count. The second weekend did. So I remember coming from Calgary into Salt Lake City, there with my brother, 3 others. Steve Bradbury's part of that team, and just furiously, like, what was incredible. So in Calgary, we got hosed, not not off the pace, not couldn't pass. We got hosed, Al. Like, we sucked. But there was not even a moment of non-belief. Everyone got off the ice, start where you are, do what you can, use what you have, do what you can. So into recovery mode, good food, lots of sleep. Nobody went out in the piss that night. Some elite athletes are still getting on the beers the week before the Olympic qualifiers. Not us. We're into it. Yeah, locked in. And all week, strategy. How do we make this work? What's going to happen? How do we change this? And Stephen, I think, thought of it. And had a big our coach had a big hand in it as well. But it's because they're going to write us off. They were going to discount us as an opportunity, as a problem. And so the draft in our sport is clearly significant. So we drafted our way to that victory. You had to get in the race to have a shot at the race that counted. Yeah, we had 3 rounds to get through, and we had no business making it through those rounds. Everyone turned up with everything we had. The Salt Lake City ice was the Americans put on a show. Hey, that ice in Salt Lake City in the Delta Center was something else, and we're bigger athletes, yeah. And so that was part of our success. We could move quickly across good ice. Bad ice, we couldn't. We didn't. We're heavier athletes than the Asians, especially. Not an excuse, just the reality. Yeah, that's how it is. But the ice was phenomenal. So if the Americans didn't put on that amazing surface, no chance. There was also a little technicality we invented, and I'm pretty sure Steve invented it. Steve Bradbury was the double push, and maybe my brother had a hand in it as well. So we actually, when you're doing my sport in the relay, you got to come out from the middle, and then you get a full body weight push. Ooh! So you're actually overspeed at that point. That's the fastest we go in our sport is after the push in the relay. It's so cool because it's my favorite race by far because you are at overspeed and you're trying to hold your speed and all you do is sprint. There's no conservation of energy. Conserve the energy in the middle. You know, like I said to I coached Jasmine's team. You can walk to the bench. Preserve your energy on the bench. I don't want to see you walking in defense. Same goes for the relay. You gotta go. You got 3 corners. It's so much fun, Al. I got the goosebumps just talking about it. My sport's really cool. So hexadecimal system, arbitrary distances, 500, 1500, 1000. It's just beyond our physiology, just beyond our capacity to actually, as humans, to do that. You got 38, 35 seconds of sprint. The long trackers get their long track done in that time. We don't. We got too many G's to fight. So you're actually borrowing from something you don't have. You're tapping into other energy systems. So it was all about arriving at the last 3, 5, 7 laps, depending on the distance, with energy in the tank. You gotta preserve, like a motocrosser. If you give them 3/4 of the petrol they need to finish a race, full noise, choose which corners you're going to save your energy, and you'll lose the lead. Yeah, or don't. So the relay. So 8 changes for the finisher and starter, 7 changes. So you do 7.5. It's the perfect glycogen depletion sport. Yeah, you couldn't invent it any better. You do 13.5 seconds full noise, and you've got 45 seconds in the middle to recover. Welcome to glycogen depletion. If you want to know about, If you want to know about what lactic acid is, take up short track and do the relay. You're in a wash of it, yeah.
Mm.
And so the last three changes determine everything. Just about every country in the top 25, top 30 can do the first five changes at full flight. Fine, perfect, good job. Now let's see what happens. So we took a tactic to follow. It puts you in the traffic. We're Australians. We're pretty good at this sport. We're pretty good at the tactics of racing and the capacity to move through traffic. So we took that gamble to save the energy. Everything was about saving energy for that third race, L, without getting out in the first. So that was everything we had. That's my favorite race ever. Everyone did everything they could on the lead up, but not just on the day. Like the Olympic Committee guys were sitting there watching us qualify. They thought we're written off too. They weren't nasty guys, but they saw the weekend before. They saw the results. Yeah, we had no business qualifying, and yeah, but there was not a moment of disbelief. Everyone did what they needed to do in the lead up. But once again, you see it on the ice and you're like, this is how it plays out. And you see that 7 minutes. You're like, cool, that's not it. It's the hours, the days, the minutes of sleep that we scrap for, every proper piece of food that we put in our head. Got to be 100 to give 100. That's exacerbated at that level. So yeah, my favorite race ever. My brothers my actual brother, my blood brother, but also those other gentlemen that left it on the line. You've got to be so vulnerable to believe. Can you imagine that crash, El? If we didn't, if like, can you imagine what that night's like if we didn't succeed and make the Olympics, qualify that relay team? Because you had to work up this irrational sense of belief, and it's dangerous. Yeah, if you want to believe in yourself and you want to try something, there's risk in that because you've set a target, you've set a level that you must achieve. So now you can fail.
Mm.
There's courage in that. Yeah, don't give up. Like, and then all you can do is look to those. We have aspirations and expectations. Back to those expectations, make them watertight, make them real, make them everything that can make you just imagine that night without the victory, with ninth place instead of eighth, not making the relay, not making the world, the Olympics. Imagine that night if you sneak in a Mars bar. Imagine that night if you watch some telly for another hour and a half some point that week. That's not a good night. You've let your brothers down. You've let
Mm.
yourself down. So just watertight, yeah. Everyone did everything they should do, and yeah, it was a watershed race. It was so much fun, and we just got this reputation globally. It was like, where did these guys come from? And so we did it again. 4 years later, no business making it again, but that was more tactical. We did so many 5K relays in the lead up to 2006. Oh my goodness, I was sick of them, but we were so good at it. The physiology we adapted, the skill we adapted, and there was a really deep sport. So when I joined the sport, my brother was the first junior to make the senior team for 2 decades. That was how they were running the sport. Don't judge them, but that's what happened. They choked the sport almost to death. When I finished the sport, we had 22 people at the national championships that were all skating top 16 times. My objective was not to be, and I was national champion a bunch of times. Alex McEwen was my number one adversary and number one ally. So many good tussles with Alex. We made each other better. Sometimes I was pretty cranky with him and he put me in a fence, but geez, we made each other better, hey. And I did the same to him, yeah. So yeah, our results, not the same without the competitiveness, but collaborators, yeah. We're in the same team, but we've got to beat each other to get that national champion spot, yeah. So we swapped that for 5 years after Steve stopped skating, yeah. Um, what else? What else? Oh yeah, so the sport was in a good place when I left it. We had 8 people at the Olympic qualifiers, so we had options for Salt Lake. Geez, we didn't have options. All of us had to do everything we had. So we actually, yeah, we built that 5K team. We actually faltered on the 1500, I believe, where we didn't actually qualify one of the individual spots, which was an oversight. We didn't quite spend that time on that we should have, but still an incredible result for a backwater country that in a sport we had no business succeeding at. Hey, so much fun.
Mm. No, it's an incredible story, mate, and makes me want to go and look into the history of it more and see if there was any footage of you guys. Would there be any videos of
Oh
those
yeah,
races you did in the
oh yeah, it's all on
qualifiers? Yeah,
YouTube. Yeah.
yeah, awesome. Definitely send me the links, mate. I want to check that out. That's awesome.
All right.
I love that. Love
Oh,
that.
there's something a bit too narcissistic about Googling myself. Al, you're gonna have to look them up yourself, mate.
Yeah. Likewise, mate. It. Geez. Yeah. I don't watch too many of my old videos. Just keep moving forward. Um,
Uh,
mate, yeah, incredible stuff. So I guess on that, lessons, learnings, what to do, what not to do as you started to season into life. So you've moved through your career as a professional athlete, marriage, kids, not
yeah.
to fast forward through your life, but take us through now. You've had that, but now you're here and now, Marco, and you arrived a
Mm.
man in his mid 40s or thereabouts, and you're now looking to build that second half. What were the biggest takeaways? What to do's, what not to do's, values and principles you took from elite sport into now, and also what has been your takeaways with HPF? What have you learned? What have you developed? How do you see the world now, mate, moving forward after doing a season with us?
Um, my next meeting's just rocked up, but I'm good to keep going. He's a good egg. He'll check on the pork I've got in the smoker. I'm on for dinner tonight, so he's my master smoker advisor. Actually, I'll tell him to go down the side. Um, yeah, good on mate. Life and the world. So, um, yeah, I'd say that the simplicity of being an athlete is Ian Healy did a great piece on this, the Australian wicket keeper, where actually there's something about sport that's really easy because it's clear, it's binary. Everything is either does this make me better or does it not? And sometimes letting your hair down makes you better, yeah. Sometimes taking a day off training does make you better, yeah. It's a tricky thing to walk. Out here in the big bad world, we are spoilt with options, and the longevity is a real thing, yeah. Um, we talk about balanced people in sport. I wasn't a balanced person when I finished being an athlete, and neither were anyone else in the top 20. They're great people, and I really appreciate all that they tried to be my competitor and how hard they challenged me. But I wouldn't wish on my kids that their headspace or mine when I was in that mode. So I hope there is a way. And there was a race walker recently. Had a really great. I think she's won a medal at the Com Games. She had a really great perspective, and so that was really interesting to see someone who I would perceive as quite balanced, from at least her interviews, that it can be done. But yeah, so what do I do here now? Like, how do we change out of that? Like, it's you got to choose your you got to choose your direction. Like, what are you trying to achieve? It's more amorphous out here. So back to those lighthouses and landing mark beacons. Yeah, what are you trying to do? And so this big why, like the big why. What's your objective? Um, be a good dad. It's an easy one, yeah. But what does that mean? Like, let's zoom into that. Be an amazing. I want to be the best husband that Tash could ever find. Yeah, I want to be more than she'd ever hope for. Yeah. Um, and yeah, but also I want to leave my mark on this place. I know that when my girls leave this house, that I can go back to being to sending it a bit more. I still want to spend time with Tash. I'm not just going to evacuate from the house, but my strategy is required here more than ever before and more than ever again because we're about to go into high school, yeah, or are in high school. How do we apply it here? That strategy, like how do we hold it lightly? I just what's the change? I don't take myself too seriously, as much as it was going around in circles on an ice rink. You mentioned it right at the start, being selfish. You have to be at least self-absorbed. I think the difference is selfish people know that they're being selfish. If we want to be definitional here, versus fantastically self-absorbed, on a very acute mission.
Mm.
Here, to perform sustainably in life, you can't be self-absorbed. You need your network. You know, I say it when a mate of mine and when we're both doing startup bits at the moment, he's in a similar sector but different. And the thing that we both caught on that we both liked was, altruistic business is long-term greedy. And the idea is that from that, you actually need to, what you're building here. Al, I hope you do. I hope you're really successful from it because it's so important. As blokes, we used to have to stare at the fire and we used to, go shooting and do things together. Our time demands are so stretched now. We don't do the blokey things that we need to reconnect. Yeah. Male suicide rates are off the chart because men just focus on service and doing their work. And that one you got to unpick, yeah. What's work mean? Like work is, you use that word, four-letter word. It means swapping your time via chores for money. Cool, keep doing it. Don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater, but pass the baton. If you've got something you're passionate about and like never work a day in your life. That's bullshit. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, find something that's important to you. Important, like what is your purpose? And take your time with that one. That's a big question. I'm very fortunate that I didn't fall into it. I found it. I started in climate change and in reconciliation, working with Aboriginal people in Australia before it was, I'm a hipster. I like this band before it had a drummer. I did it for free, and I still do. I'm part of Engineers Without Borders. It's a great organization. You know, the idea is if you took the money away, I'd do it for free. But we'll also, I do it for free now because it's important to me. But also, let's use the other side of the coin. Remember the Joker in the Dark Knight Rises, or one of the Dark Knight ones? He's like, if you're good at something, never do it for free. And so that applies here too. So,
Mm.
with my career in renewables, obviously you can go too far on that, but I think it is important. It just makes sense. Yeah, let's summarize it in a way that's triple bottom line sustainable. It makes sense that we should use the resources we have that replicate themselves as much as possible. Let's not go climate catastrophe or everything's fine, keep BAU doing it. There's somewhere in the middle, yeah. Energy's got to be cost effective, but it's also got to be as clean as you can make it. So I tried the policy route to start with. Not me, doesn't suit me. I'm glad people do it. So I went into business because nobody can stop me within the moral, ethical boundaries of the law and the people who I bounce things off. I can do what I want with my own business. There is no bureaucracy in my way. If I want to turn some chicken poo into biogas using anaerobic digestion, as long as the farmer is paid, as long as I do obey the laws of the land, go. Yeah, go. And so make it as cheap or as cost effective or valuable as possible to do that. Yeah. And so that suits me and my mentality. Other people, they're in advocacy and policy and those sorts of things. So find something that's important to you. This is I got a fire in my belly on this, yeah, but it's sustainable, yeah. People say, oh, career's a marathon. I'm not a marathon runner. Fuck that noise. Respect you guys, but that's not me. 92 kilos, 5'10". I ain't running, but I run fast. I can jump. So it's a series of interconnected sprints for me.
Mm.
Find a way to sprint. Yeah, that time blocking you did. That was from uh, the last Winter Wars. Coming into it, this is my second season now. I was like, yeah, I got this. I'll do it just for the tribe. Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna phone it in. Everything be fine. Time blocking, amazing. It changed my life. Increased my productivity tenfold. And I was already pretty productive. Oh, being humble, like I get it. Like, but I was already pretty good at getting shit done and helping other people lead them to get shit done too. And now it's even better because if you do we do our weekly war room, we do our tabs. It's very clear what your top three are. And if you're not prioritizing your top three, what are you doing? Like today, this week, this month, what are you doing? So the HPF methods for quarterly planning, I'd done them before, but had I done them, weekly planning, I'd done it before, but had I done it, I kind of find I was like, oh, I'm good at this. I got this. I'm getting shit done. Like bunkering down. We've crossed blocks here, but I'm okay with it. I've managed the next meeting so that I knew it was probably going to run long. Could have gone 4 hours today, Al. But so yeah,
Mm.
crossing over into the world here, we've got to be sustainable. Yeah, to round that one out, my favorite one that I grabbed, that's so different to asymptoting to perfection from elite sport that I do now is we rise to the level of our inspiration and we fall to the level of our standards. So when your inspiration comes, improve your systems, get better, whatever that is for you, whatever's important to you.
Well, for me, it's the fourth child. Like that's the inspiration because you're right. The level of standard is really has a flux about it. And what I mean by that, man, is you might be performing well, but that means you're also comfortable with your current situation, which means you're allowing yourself to bleed time. Whereas right now, just before my fourth comes in the world, I'm already looking at my calendar and mate, I use all the stuff that I share with you guys, the time blocking and how to set up your production and time management to get shit done. So, but I'm looking at that now going, nah, I can still shave some stuff here, man. I can still implement that there. I can still tweak this little bit here and I can
Mm,
these and it's micro. These two
sure.
mornings instead of doing school drop off and hitting the gym, which I love. I love training between 9 and 11. It's just fucking perfect for me. My body is like, no, twice a week, bite the bullet. I'll lose a bit of intensity, but I'm going to be getting up and training at 5 at the gym and then coming back. But then I've just bought 2 hours back in a peak
Sure.
time where I can dive into either helping the wife nesting or production with work. So
Sure.
that's where I think for a
And
lot of us, we accept the current way things are, where you're operating at 100. and you max out as opposed to just going, well, hang on a minute, how could I build my capacity and my structure to then
Mm.
look and go, yeah, now I'm operating at 80 so that when shit hits the fan, I'm not tapping out into the red zone. I've still got capacity. So, mate, there's spots in my calendar which are completely fucking blank. There is nothing there. And that's exactly the fucking point. And that's the
Yeah.
freedom for seeking growth, love, and joy, or doing whatever, man. Reading a book, playing
That's it.
golf with Roman out the back, hitting the
Yeah.
neighbors' glass windows and shattering them, whatever it might be. We haven't done that yet. But, mate, so
Well, what I
there's
got from one
times
of
where
my
I intentionally
grads.
have nothing as
Sorry, go
well.
ahead, mate.
Mm. That was the same. So there are times where I've actually intentionally had nothing, but then I've also
Sure.
I can justify that because I've sharpened the axe where I need to be on with my high level stuff.
Sure. I mean, what I got from my grad, he was like, "Oh, you've dialed in, so everything's a substitution. Hey, you're pulling something out to put something else in to see if you can optimize." And I'm like, "Yes, and everything's a substitution for you, but what you're substituting is lack of direction."
Mm,
So I'm not wailing on you if you're new to this podcast or new to this movement. You're doing something at every moment, whether it's scrolling Facebook or doing some bullshit and it's not helping your trajectory for your family or for you or for this environment, for society, then you're still doing it, yeah? So everything is a substitution, but those easy wins feel great. So if you can pull those out, delete those. Pause, delete. If you're listening to on your phone, I get it, but YouTube, whatever, delete Facebook and Instagram and all that crap off your phone. They are floors and floors full of people marshalling bots to try and steal your attention right now. You cannot beat them. Do not talk to me about discipline. I understand discipline to Olympics. I understand it. I can't beat them. I can't beat them.
mm,
They
mm,
are pervasive and relentless. Turn it
mm,
off, remove it. Yeah. If
mm,
you're an alcoholic, a house full of beer, probably not your best idea. Yeah. Same idea. If these apps are pervasive and they're stealing your attention, delete them.
mm,
Sign yourself out. There's methods in there to actually sign yourself out for weeks, months, years. Like delete your account, whatever you need to do.
mm,
Those sorts of vices for in the attention economy, that's going to be a number one. If you're hampered for capacity, burn it. And then you get
mm,
amazed at how much time you've got. It's a substitution still, but it's from a vice to a virtue, to a something that's important to you.
mm. Oh,
Even
mate, even
spending
just,
time working out what's important to you, that's a good use of that time. Yeah?
I was going to say, mate, 100%, I was going to say, even documenting, even if you guys documented every half an hour what you did for that half an hour, the time you spend documenting what you did for the half an hour that's just passed, let's say 16 hours, 32 times, you'll actually have even more time
Sure.
than if you
Yeah, yeah,
didn't
yeah.
document it all. So
Great
if I
point.
spent 5 minutes documenting that, it's like, oh, what do you mean now? So that's like, what's that? 75? That's 80 minutes, right? Okay, so spending 80 minutes now just writing about my, yeah, man. But what you'll find is you'll actually have even more fucking time because somewhere
Mm.
throughout the day, if you weren't aware, you've probably bled 90, 100, 150 minutes. 20 minutes there, 10 minutes, I go and do shit. Don't sit on the toilet till you can't feel your fucking legs scrolling through social media. Do your shit, wipe your ass and move
I was
forward.
there. I did
Like,
that. 100% I did.
we,
Those
oh,
bots
me
had
too.
me.
I'm not fake.
Those
I'm
bots
not
had me,
throwing
bro. Like,
stones, man. This is me.
yeah, don't want to pretend like I'm just on top of everything. Like, and
Yeah.
and and I downloaded it. It's so pervasive. Yeah, I downloaded Facebook Marketplace to sell some weights, and there it just stayed on my phone. And then it's fucking. And like you say, and this is
Mm.
weeks ago. Like it, yeah.
But you're an
We
engineer,
sort
so
of.
you've created a seat where it's actually a toilet as well. So right now through this session, Marco's gone to the toilet several times. So he's an efficient man.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, don't
Make
be
me
too
a
hard on
seat like that.
yourself. Just realize that you gotta, yeah, help yourself. Block those things out. What was it called? Dopamine Nation, I think was a really great book. I'll
Oh
just look
yeah.
it up real quick. That was
Mm,
that was life changing for me because it was something that was clearly not just me. Yeah, where
mm,
are we? Indistractable's great, but yeah, Dopamine Nation by Anna Lemke. Have a go at that if you're struggling with and
mm,
she's like full addiction psychiatrist, psychologist, full proper next level addiction. But that's the same triggers, yeah, the same things that are pulling us to dopamine and trying to make us zoom in on that. I'm not a doctor, I don't understand, but those methods, the actionable protocols she presented in there were excellent for me.
mm. Well, yeah, mate, that'll be phenomenal. You guys should definitely check that out because boys, when you get something for free, but the source of that doesn't have your best interest at heart or wants to serve, and you are the
You're the
product.
commodity.
Yeah,
You're the
exactly. You're the
commodity.
commodity. You're the product. So
Yeah.
this podcast is free, but this is to serve you and help you empower your life to drive actions and create results and change. But when you're looking at all these little things, like there's a lot of science and psychology behind everything that you'll see in the digital world that is driving your attention with
Mhm,
advertising,
mhm.
marketing, all that sort of stuff. It's like, fuck, where's this place come from? Is it genuine? If it's not and you don't know who it is or the source, mate, you're the product, you're the commodity. Even though you think you're getting a deal, you're giving up the most valuable thing you'll never get back in your time. But Marco, how you finding HPF, man? I guess wrapping up, it's been a big session, so we'll wrap it up. Maybe we'll do a part two. But yeah, I guess just a bit of a way to cap off this session, mate. HPF, what it means to you. Maybe some final thoughts or wisdom for the men. But
Sure.
yeah, we'll wrap this up, mate. It's been awesome having you on. Thanks for spending the time.
No worries, I know. So I'll do the final thoughts and then I'll wrap up on HPF. I'll go off piste, even though you try to get me to do that way. So if you're listening to this as a bloke, would-be father, someone on the way, but or you got your kids and all your kids aren't home anymore and you've lost that marriage and you've lost that, like you matter, you count. You're at the middle of a small network that feeds a larger network that feeds, eventually links back to Al and myself. It's don't give up. You matter. You're really important. And so just don't wail on yourself. Don't turn to these substances. Like yeah, you're important. And so we need you back in the game. Your kids need you back in the game if you've got them. So start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. I believe in you. I don't even know who you are. Your kids need you. Let's go. Whatever it is, you know what needs to happen now. Do it. Action bias. Go. Do it. Go to the gym, go for a walk, put that phone down, do what you need to do, and look at yourself. Don't get bitter and twisted about your ex-wife or your partner and what she did. Look to yourself. Just make yourself better. You'll be amazed at what difference that makes. I didn't have any of those experiences myself. Tash and I are solid. We're getting much better from the content in HBF because of me working on myself. But I'm watching the carnage around me in HBF, early entrance, and but also just in general. And
Mm.
yeah, you count. Don't write yourself off. Don't say that you're a piece of shit or don't play that game. We need you back in the game. So do your kids. So that's my little pep talk. If you're building, if you're a seeker of mastery like I was, come play. There's so many systems in here. Come play. Like you'll have no idea. I was uh, egotistical enough to think that I was going to get through on the legacy program, and that's great value. Like don't get me wrong, the bot taught me in there, and I've been into AI since early adopter. Most technologies I am. But yeah, Al actually called me. He's like, yeah, good one. All right, you're going to do fine here, but you need the best of this program. I'm like, yeah, I got this. Don't worry about it. You're talking about guys who drink too many Cokes. I've sorted that out when I was a teenager. And yeah, it had to work on me, but it did work. And so the whole is more than the sum of the parts. It's not 1 + 1 = 3 in here. It's like 2 + 2 = 50. We support each other. We need each other. There's no judgment in here, but it's not a freebie. If you fucked up and you reach out and say, "Oh, it's all her fault," and then a car ran out of fuel, and it's like, bro, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to fix that? How are you going to make it so next time you don't run out of fuel? That's on you. Nobody stole fuel out of your car. I've said that this week to one of the brothers tribesmen here. Stop playing the victim. Let's go. Put fuel in your car at the start of the week when you've still got money in your bank account. Not her fault, your fault. Go. Own it. So what happens in here? Very nurturing, very supportive, but we're not going to take your shit. Like you're going to have to go. You're going to have to move. This tribe's got your back, but yeah, yes, you'll be challenged. You will be challenged from a
Mm.
loving position because your kids need you. Yeah. We need you. I want you to find your spark. I want you to harness something that makes you feel energized that you're going to make a difference in this world from your service. So if you don't like your job, fine, keep it. Don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater, but actually find something that's important to you because it's probably important to me too. And you're going to carve out that niche in the world. You're the only one that's you, and you're the one with your passions and skills. So you can have at it. You can carve out your little part of the world. And if you're genuinely in service, not work, and you're serving this community and this environment that keeps us alive, revenue will come. It's a secondary thing. Yeah. It's going to come because that's fundamentally the building block of this economy is that you're providing a service that isn't acquired, whether it's a piece whether it's a piece, like if it's a service or an artifact that humans need, get after it, but make it yours. And it'll take time, yeah? But so what did it mean for me? Where did we go? Upgrade from legacy. Um, I was hiding in plain sight. I used lots of confidence to mask a very deep-seated lack of self-belief. I also had developed a glass ceiling. That was the first conversation we had, Al. What brought you here? I was like, I'm stuck in this Pareto. Yeah, I'm an 80% guy. I never finished. My first business, the objective was to make $1 million. I made 800,000. Everything in my life, like, I was a top 15, top 16 athlete at speed skating. Um, I just came up that little bit short, and something about being elite was gelled with me, but something about being a champion wasn't in my nature. And I had to peel back the layers to stare at it. It's very, very challenging. I had to be very vulnerable with myself, my coach, with yourself, Al. And so if you're a seeker of mastery, this is a good place for you. You get non-judgmental course correction, which has been great. Inadvertently, I joined here to be better at business, and I came out a better dad and husband and just person. Like it's just I like being in this freaking dome with myself now. It's actually quite fun, this life, and it can be. Um, when I walked in the doors, I wasn't very nice to myself. Hey, and it was not it was counterproductive. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, brilliant insights, mate. And thank you for the shares. And boys, there's just levels, like disconnected husband, burnt out provider, overwhelmed father. But then you ascend through those, which none of us are born with. But as you move through manhood in your 20s and your 30s, you carry them like a turtle with the shell on its back. But then you move through and you break through into self mastery and legacy builder. And Marco's one of those shining pupils of HPF, but shining examples, and there are plenty. And men move through that journey. And that's the beautiful part about this. But I completely agree with what you're saying, mate. Like if I didn't think, like fathers, you are the backbone of society. That doesn't mean that there's only one piece. You've got the beating
Mm.
heart, which is the mother, but it's like without the spine, the world is fucked. Like if I didn't think with full conviction that you guys were important, like Marco just, passionately shared, I wouldn't be doing this. I'm dedicating my entire fucking life to it. Like that matters. You see all the other copycats and all the other people advertise. Fucking good for them, mate. Do the best with what you can. But for us, this is so much deeper than a fucking ad. Do this and do that. It's driving you towards the life that you were born to live and deserve to live because you matter. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, you truly do. Mate, unbelievable session. I remember this old quote just talking about the stumbling up the hill, but I'm just going to expand on it a little bit. And the quote's this: when you see a man standing at the top of the mountain, you can be sure, you can be certain that he didn't fall there. So
Nice.
what that means is Marco's right. Like we need to take ownership. We need to do the fucking legwork. We need to take action, take the steps. But one thing I'll promise you though is along the journey, he fell many fucking times. Now that's not part of the quote. It's a very old quote. You
Mm.
see a man standing at the top of the mountain, you can be certain he didn't fall there. But it's also, yeah, but along the
Sure.
way, he wasn't unscathed. He fell so many fucking times, but he got up.
Sure.
And like you said, he kept stumbling up the hill. And I think that's important. It's this beautiful balance where there's no judgment from us. We're seeking the truth through compassion and direction to make sure that you're living. That's the whole fucking point of having a brotherhood. Not patting you in the back, not are you okay days, driving beyond that to know that there's zero judgment from us and we're here to make sure that you won't fail. That's our promise. No man will fucking drift, but let's put the fucking legwork in together and conquer the mountain that awaits you. And that's, I think it's a beautiful balance that we found, Marco. Like and then you get men from all different calibers, but there's a universal ambition and desire. That's the ICP. That's the ideal client profile, right? Like it's not fucking money to join. It's I have a burning desire and ambition and a core set of character traits, which I'll talk about with our tenants in another session that defines the man's place, despite what avatar and what he's currently carrying. We call them avatars, but it's like, okay, I feel like I'm a burnt out provider, or I'm, despite what shell you're carrying, we move you through into Marco's position and more. And that's the beautiful part. It never ends. Because guess what, Marco? When you're crushing self mastery and legacy, the very first thing I'll say to you is, you cool. How many fucking people are you building up? How many other leaders? How are you as a mentor? Like it never ends. We've got men at that level in their 50s and moving through and mate, successful everywhere. It's like, cool, yeah, but how many fucking success stories have you created through
Mm.
people within your sphere of influence, within your network? And so Man, I'll be doing this fucking if God willing, I'm still alive and kicking at 80, 85. I won't stop. I'll still be looking. Where's the next man I can help with his family and
Yeah.
that's it never
Yeah.
ends. That's
And
what
so
I
you
love to.
a distillation of finding your purpose. Yeah. It's alignment
Mm,
of your skill set and what's important to you.
mm,
It's out there.
absolutely.
Keep hunting, gentlemen. Go well, Al. Appreciate
Awesome
it, mate.
session.
Appreciate
Thank
everything
you,
you do
sir.
for
Thank
us.
you, boys. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you soon.